Welcome back, youtube.com/Geek Aloud. It's Tuesday night, it's 8 p.m-ish, and that's a pretty big and wobbly-ish this evening. Joining me this evening is, of course, Unky Dunky. Welcome back, my friend.
Mate, thank you, sir. The arms are tired from flying back from Queensland to Melbourne on Friday, but I'm back. And before we start, mate, first it was the Queen, and now it's inevitable has happened. Stadia is dead. So...
Is there a national day of mourning coming for the Stadia?
There's not, but we will have a minute silence, Troy. So in 3, 2, 1. All right, that's about enough for Stadia. Good riddance. See you later.
I think Google cancelled the minute of silence as we were partway through it. That's how it works, isn't it? But seriously, though, let me tell you guys that, one, Bully's not here. As you can see, he's denoted as offline this evening. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Unky couldn't make it last week. Bully couldn't make it this week. Next week...
Bully fell off a cliff and got eaten by spiders or something. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure he's fine.
Well, he'll be back next week, Unky, with you to tell you the full story, but I guess it's my turn to take next week off, so,
good luck. We do that.
Best of luck. But for everyone watching along at home, this is how our show goes. We start off with games, Interrogation, and Deliberation. It's the 6 games Unky and myself have played throughout the past week. Then we jump on into that newsroom. Unky, have you been rounding up some stories for us?
Mate, I've rounded up a few this week. It's been busy. The last couple of days have been sort of busy for news. So we've got 6 stories. I've got 6 doors I've booted in this week, and the foot's a little bit tender, but she's doing all right.
Excellent. I love to hear that. And then, of course, Unky Dunky and everyone else's favourite segment. It's the Standoff. Unky Dunky, what are the rules for this evening's Standoff? Who's fighting whom?
Mate, who's fighting tonight? We've got the most iconic or best game catchphrases. I know there's probably going to be heaps out there that I've missed, but I have put 12 on the list, so it's a bloody big list. We've got a dozen on there tonight, people. So jump in there. Jump in the chat. Let us know what your favourite phrases are. See if they're on the list at the end of the night. Otherwise, tell us which one you think's are our favourite, and we'll see if they match up at the end.
Indeed, and let me just jump in there and say, I already asked everyone watching, and it's a rule, it doesn't count. The Sam Fisher boop as the glass is turning on does not count as a catchphrase, so don't guess that one.
It's funny you should mention it. There is one on the list that is kind of a noise, so it probably could have made the list, so we'll hold that till the end. I'll see what you think.
Nice work. And then finally, it's segment 4, that's audience interrogation. Any comments, thoughts throughout the show, feel free to bang them into that live YouTube chat, and we will, of course, get straight to you right there in segment 4, but that's enough preamble. Let's get on to games, interrogation, and deliberation. First up this evening, we're looking at Splatoon 3, more precisely. Unky Dunky's lead investigating, because I have not seen a frame of it. So, Unky Dunky, what can you tell us about Splatoon 3?
Well, I did sort of give a glimpse last week in my little clip from Queensland that I was bashing away a bit of Splatoon 3. I hid it as a present from my little fella, and instead I've just been mainly playing it because, games, whale, this guy. Anyway, I really liked Splatoon 2, but I didn't play a lot of the multiplayer stuff, and I'll go right ahead and say right now I have not played 1 ounce of the multiplayer Splatoon 3. I might say that's a bit of a mistake, and that's a lot of the reason most people play Splatoon is for that multiplayer. But I really wanted to jump into the campaign. I'd heard good things about it, and it's, from all accounts so far, I'm really, really loving it. It may get me into the multiplayer stuff eventually. Granted, all last week when I was playing it, I was away, so I couldn't actually play the online stuff anyway, so I was stuck with the campaign. So anyone that's going to hate on me for not playing multiplayer, that's probably the main reason.
Can I ask, mate, if you wouldn't mind painting with a broad brush, so to speak, what's the summary of the campaign? How many missions, how many maps, do we know?
So it's a weird way that it works. Like, it sort of subverts your expectation a little bit. Like, the game starts out very similar to Splatoon 2, the way the world map works, and very quickly they throw that out the water and you're sort of into a whole new hub area. Like, the ground breaks away, you end up in this whole new snowy sort of area. So it's only kind of one biome, you might say, but what this does is it creates this whole sort of open world hub area where there's hidden things you can find. You've got you start the game with a character creator, and you can create, it's very limited for what you can do, but you've got a little fish sidekick thing that's very humorous looking. Like, even my little fella loved it when we were creating him because he just looks stupid. But anyway,
did you try Nathan Drake?
I did my best. I couldn't do it. There's literally I couldn't find any short haircut. I'm assuming you can unlock them. I think I have unlocked things, and I think when you play the multiplayer stuff, you can unlock different looks for your. I don't even know what you call them. I mean, splashinis, let's call them.
Why not? Works for me.
Splatinis, I know they've got names. Clearly not the biggest Splatoon fan going out there. I don't, I'm not going to pretend like I am, but so far, like this, it's really cool. Like you drop into this world, and also you got 6 areas for this new sort of hub area that you've got to get to, and within each of those sort of islands within this area, you've got to play sort of mini levels, and throughout those mini levels, you've got this sort of fuzzy ooze stuff you've got to get rid of. But the only way to get rid of that is to go into these smaller sort of bite-sized levels, play them, get like good scores, and unlock the we'll call them points to give to your little fishy dude to then throw at these orby things, and then get rid of the fuzz around that sort of biome area, or the little island area. So the more you clear out, the more levels you can unlock as well.
So it's like a fog of war over a map?
Oh, not really a fog of war. Like it's physically there, and if you touch it, it will turn you into a fuzzy little ball and you die, and then get reset at the start of the biome, so to speak.
Okay.
So it's there. Once you remove it, you sort of can access more areas of that sort of level, and you'll find other levels hidden, and you've got to sort of zap it with your ink to get into it. Some levels are free to play. Some might cost you 30 orbs, whatever you want to call them, to play each level, but that doesn't matter because you might die maybe 2 or 3 times in one of the hardest levels, and then you'll earn 1,200 of those things just for finishing the level.
Okay.
For a first-time bonus. Then you can replay the levels with they give you 3 different weapon options each time you play the level, so you can choose to play it with the easiest weapon for that level to sort of get you sort of the 1,200 points. Then maybe you'll use one of the harder ones, will give you 13 or 1,500 if you can finish the level with one of those harder weapons.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting. It gives a lot of replayability, and I really like the way the levels are. They're only like 3 to 5 minutes long, so they're sort of bite-sized. They sort of don't outlast their welcome at all. Each different level will have a different color paint you're using, so it sort of changes up the aesthetic of the levels. Like one minute you're using light blue, then all of a sudden it's pink and green and dark blue or purple, and it's really, really cool. And they give you different objectives where you might just have to destroy all enemies from from the start of the level to the end. You might have to get to the end of the level using just like these pad things that you've got to use your paint to they create bridges and stuff throughout the level, or you've got levels where you're on like a Ratchet and Clank style, like what do you call them, rail, and you've got to shoot targets, but if you don't shoot those targets in time, the next bit of the rail won't appear, so you've got to be really precise with your shooting of the ink and stuff, and it's really satisfying. The sound effects they've got with the way the ink works and the way the Pro Controller sort of vibrates in your hand, it really does feel like you're shooting this ink, and it's really satisfying gameplay. So I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Are you using the Switch, what is it, the Pro, I want to say, controller for the Switch?
Yeah, Switch Pro controller. I had played a bit of handheld stuff, but then when I realised in the plane that I could just sort of set it up on tabletop mode on the fold-out little table and just chuck my controller in my hand and use that, it was much easier.
Yep.
But yeah, no, really, really cool little feedback for that. Like it's no DualSense 5 or anything like DualSense control like that, but it does enough just to make you feel like you've got, this little paint thing in your hands and shooting. You've got a lot more weapons this time around, and they're all kind of quite unique. I find myself sort of sticking to the main weapon most of the time, just because it's the most satisfying to use. But some of the sniper rifles and all that kind of stuff are quite cool. They've got like splatanas, I think they're called. They're like katanas, but they're like sort of swords, but like they're windshield wipers.
Okay.
Which is quite cool, like a melee weapon, but they splash out paints and stuff, obviously, as well. So it's quite unique the way they've sort of used those weapons as well.
Yep.
But yeah, like just an enjoyable little game. Like it's got that sort of Mario. What's the most recent one? Not Galaxy.
Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah, with like the small like levels where you can sort of go through real fast. It's like bite-sized fun, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's got boss fights now as well. Like I fought probably 2 main bosses, and God. The first one I thought, that's pretty easy. Like I worked out his moves pretty easy. It's got that whole Mario, beat me 3 times and then you're dead. Yep. But they advance each time that sort of you get to that sort of next level. Mm-hmm. And this second boss that I thought, my God, it was like Souls worthy.
Okay.
It was some of the difficulty that he had to do, and I'm like, how are kids going to do this? I was ready to throw my controller at the wall, and like you don't get much time. There was so much cool stuff going on. There's paint. There was this. Just to give you a long story short, you fight this person that wants to have a dance fight against you, but the dance fight is them on top of this giant cube, and this giant cube has these like eels you've got to try and attack, and every time the first phase has got 3 eels that you've got to hit, then the next one's I think 6, and it's like 12, but they'll throw out like maybe, say the first time it's 3 eels you've got to hit, they'll throw out maybe 10 eels, but you've got to find the 3 that are the ones that are supposed to be hit before you can go up to the top of that. To stop the cube that she's dancing on to move, you've got to then spray yourself to get up the top of the cube and then hit the character with your paint. And
now
then it's hard.
It's sounding a lot like the Luigi's Mansion 3 boss fight with the chick with the disco afro and her minions. Should it be reminding?
Yeah, no, very similar to that. And that game also has some infuriating bosses. So definitely not for kids. I know I shouldn't say definitely not for kids because kids have the reflexes that are far outweigh our own now, as you can see.
Oh, yes.
Like yourself playing Fortnite and stuff, getting, victory royales as much as they like. I mean, similar to me, really. I mean, I'll get pretty good both of you as well. Let's not beat around the bush. But, no, like I'm just going through my notes. I don't think I've missed anything at all. But yeah,
my question is, how's the sound? Sound effects, soundtrack, how are they?
Soundtrack's really good. There's no, in terms of speech, it's all sort of gobbledygook stuff. Like there's no actual English speaking. It's all subtitles, and they've got their own little language and stuff like that. The music's really fun. As I said, the sound effects really, really work with the splat noises that you hear, and that really works with the controller feedback as well. But it's a really fun, colourful game. Like it's just if you want something fun that's not too much of a challenge at all. It doesn't punish you at all for the levels. Like you don't have to find everything in a level to get the full points at the end. You just have to get through it. Even if you die and you lose all your 3 sort of little inkling, that's their name choice. Good work. I got there eventually.
You nailed it. Well done.
I nailed it. I didn't even mean to that I was making that up as well, but I'm like, that's actually right. So you can also have 3 health each level, but then if you die, then you can choose to start at the checkpoint you're at, but you then get all 3 of those health back. You don't start with 1.
Yep.
So, which is a nice way to do it. So, especially in the boss fights, you get to the last phase of the boss fight, it doesn't punish you and send you back to the start. You can restart that checkpoint, the last checkpoint, with those 3 extra lives. So, pretty accessible. Like frustrating because it's harder than you want it to be because you're like, this is a bloody kids game. While I'm better at it. Jokes, I'm really good at it. No, just a really fun game, and it was one of those ones that I wasn't really going to pick up, but I was going on holiday and I wanted something to play, and the little fella likes to shoot things, and I'm like, this is better than shooting people in like a Grand Theft Auto or something like that. You shoot paint, and eventually maybe the multiplayer I'll give that a crack as well once the house move and stuff's all done. I've got some good internet, nice. Maybe not as good as your internet, but we'll see how we go.
Beautiful. My final question, did this game, after playing it, make you want to play a round of Power Wash Simulator to get all the inking out of your system?
It's funny you should say that. I actually did think of Power Wash Simulator when I saw all that ink and paint on one of the levels. My little fellow, he went through one level. All he wanted to do, didn't give a shit about any of the objectives, just wanted to cover the whole level with paint. I'm like, buddy, that's not going to be there at the end. He's like, I don't care. I want to cover it all with paint. Okay, and I was like, I just had so many Power Wash Simulator vibes. I was going to clean everything, and I almost jumped back into it because I could. I was doing a bit of the Game Pass sort of wireless stuff, and I think it's on the cloud. I think you can play Power Wash Simulator through the cloud.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
didn't have the best connection up there, so I stuck with the Switch in Queensland.
Fair enough, mate. That hotel Wi-Fi has been known to be quite dodgy at the best of times.
Yeah.
I have no final questions for Splatoon 3, mate. Did you have any final thoughts, or should we shuffle along?
No, we can shuffle along. I'll give you some thoughts on the multiplayer if I ever get to it.
Beautiful. I love it, and I do want to hear it. And the key thing to tell me, what I want to know is how are they handling the Battle Pass, or what's their equivalent whenever you get there. Now, Game 2 this evening, I want to say Arcane, but Unky, please correct me. How do you correctly pronounce this game title?
This game is pronounced Akane.
Akane, there you have it. My apologies. Now, I'm not going to say it on air, but I nominated for the best opening line of any video game ever. Is the Akane, is that the protagonist's name, or is it something else entirely?
Oh, good question. I'm just going to say yes.
Well, in that case, it's Arcane's opening line as she starts the game. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, I've really enjoyed my time with this. It has been fantastic. I first played it on xCloud, through xCloud, and it was okay. It was reasonable on there, which is... No, that's not the one you're seeing now. But shortly you'll see it cuts, and I've been able to pick it up and play it. Now, I need to ask you, Unky, how far in have you gotten? Have you unlocked any of the gear, for example?
All I've managed to get to, I've unlocked, I think, one of the clothing stuff that gives you greater mobility. And
that'd be handy.
Then I've also unlocked the shotgun as well, which was tough to do because that's, I think, 50 gun kills before dying as well. So I've managed to get to the first boss a number of times. Still haven't managed to beat that first boss. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or what I need to do, but for God help me, I just can't do it.
I've got a pro tip for you, mate, and you're about to see it on stream. This will cut, and then you'll see I worked out how to cheese this game after, I don't know, maybe 3 hours of playing it and getting nowhere. In the first 3 hours, I couldn't unlock one thing. To your point, there's 4 or 5 challenges, yeah. I think the first one is like 100% accuracy with the katana for the first 100 people or something, which at 100 kills takes you to that first boss. But I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I stumbled upon this one. And is this it? I think this is going to be it. Yes. Hopefully, can you see this right now? I don't think you're on a delay anymore, Aki. Can you see me just running around the little panda hut there?
Yep.
You watch this. This is how you play this game. You just pick that panda hut and you just cut laps. But you watch it, mate. In my second or third attempt using this technique, I killed the boss.
Nice. Did you just hit him normally?
Yeah. You watch it. This footage will show it in a minute, but I just proceed to run counterclockwise around the panda hut, and then I just run around. But because what I'm forcing the computer to do is constantly redraw the AI path.
Yes.
And by going over, 120 degrees, it decides to redraw the path. So you kind of can keep the boss from even attacking you. Like, he attacks, but he doesn't attack you. He just makes random attacks. Yeah, and I just absolutely breeze through him. And I only discovered this about, 2 hours ago at this point. I captured this footage not long before we started, but it was the first time I'd thought of the technique. I tried it, and you can see it here. I just mow it straight up to 100, and then the boss walks out, and I slayed him as well. So I suspect that I have now worked out how this game is played properly, and I think by exploiting this method of running around the panda hut, I think I should be able to do the bullet one and everything. I think they'll all fall into action. Because you just watch the AI, the pathfinding, go, where is he? Where is he? And keeps resetting.
Nice. And then handy against those guys that come up with guns as well and just target you very quickly.
Yeah, it's perfect because they all flock in. But then, as I said, just that little square, you just keep cutting around. Look here, here's the boss fight now. He doesn't land a hit on me. Just whoop. Just keep counterclockwise around the panda. Whoop.
Oh, I love it.
It's perfect. And then, you just keep going that method. Did the right stick... Oh, sorry, I should have explained it as it come up. But the meter at the bottom in the middle is, as it fills up, there's 3 sections to it. And if you pull the right paddle, you can deploy and it'll just be a straight line. You draw it with the right stick. Yeah. But that's for one segment. But if you save up all 3, you'll see it goes gold. And at which point, if you hit the right stick and then pull the right trigger, I want to say, you then proceed to just kill everyone on screen. It's an absolute thing of beauty.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That is the hook for this game.
It's one of those games, it's such a simple game, but it's so addictive just to jump in there and have that one more go. And the sound effects are simple. The music's pumping when you get going as well. It's literally just one level where you're just doing this over and over again, but for whatever reason, it's very addictive.
Yes, it is so addictive. I absolutely love this game. Unky, I can't wait for you to try out that little exploit. Oh, here you can see. So I unlocked the new katana for killing that boss just then, and that's me. A crit hit. Nice. And then I go back in. I'm not sure what the buffs were on the blade, but I think I played one more round and then had to move on. But I'm thoroughly enjoying my time with it. Oh, we should note we're playing. I think this is only, or is it on PlayStation as well? It's definitely on Xbox. That's where I played it.
No, it is on PlayStation as well. But it's not Game Pass. It's like $9.
No,
it was $5.95 on
that's
Xbox
right.
and $9.95 on PlayStation.
Yep, you've nailed that, mate. Correct. Yes, exactly. So it's a very low cost to enter, and this kind of game looks like it is a heck of a lot of fun. I've got to say, once I worked out that Panda Hut exploit, I think the sky's the limit on this one. I'm very excited about it. But that's it for me on this one, Unky, unless you had anything, mate.
No, nothing else. I think you've said it all. It's just a fun little game. Definitely worth the price of admission for only $5.95 on the Xbox.
100%. Couldn't agree more. I love it. Make sure you circle that Panda Hut. All right, Game 3 this evening. Unky, it's Overwatch 2. And boy, did I have some trouble getting into Overwatch 2. How did you go with it?
If by playing Overwatch 2 you mean staring at a screen that says you're in a queue to play Overwatch 2, then I've played a lot of Overwatch 2. Hours, Troy. So much so that I've managed to get one game the whole time since the game's gone live. There is a news story coming up later to reasons why that's the case, but I can only speak to the one game that I did play because it did actually play really well. Yep. I did get to play the tutorial as well, which seemed exactly the same as Overwatch 1's tutorial back in the day in 2015 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Like, it's got some good like in terms of graphic stuff. I saw that it's got performance mode. I'm thinking that's running at 120 frames because
there is support for 120 hertz frames.
Yeah,
yes.
because I had that and it seemed much smoother. And I had running it on the fidelity mode was running at 60 as well. So I was like, clearly it's not a fidelity 30 frames per second graphical mode because it was running at 60 frames. So that's what made me think it was a 120 mode. So I just had it running in the 120. It seemed, really smooth, and it might have done help to the fact that I'd absolutely destroyed in my very first game of Overwatch 2. I could just be an elite gamer, but it could be the 120 frames as well. But I ended up topping my team and we did win, but then I got booted off the server as soon as that game finished. So which seems to be the go with a lot of these things. And it said I'm 20,000 back in the queue to play another game. I was like, I bounced straight away and jumped onto another game, which I'll talk about soon from my overtime, but which doesn't have any issues with servers or anything like that. But I just find it strange that I'm not sure if Overwatch 1 was the same with this, but it seems weird to have to jump into a queue to play a game. Like Modern Warfare beta that was just gone. There would have been that many players jumping into that, more so than I reckon than Overwatch. And you're not waiting in line to get onto a server to play a game. Like,
this is
how is this the thing?
Well, this is by no means, I don't think this is their ideal situation. I think this is the fallback position. This very much runs like Rocket League. Rocket League does the exact same thing. You queue up for a competitive you queue up for an online match in Rocket League, and then you can either go into your garage and keep customizing your car while you're sitting in the line, or you can take on various types of training, aerials, or goalie or whatever, to fill in the time. So it's kind of like that. I don't recall. It's been so long since I played Overwatch 1. I don't recall if it was true in there or not. But I'm sure their deployment, they didn't envision the issues they've been having on their servers. And I don't think we were really ever meant to see this. I think it was meant to be seamless and no lines at all. But I suspect due to that high traffic they're dealing with, that that's why you're seeing it. I sincerely doubt that was their, desired outcome for the launch day.
It's definitely not, and it just goes in a long line of games that are online or online service based that are just having issues on that day one, especially. And then I'm sure that's all going to get ironed out, eventually. But it's just like what a trash fire way to launch a game. It's just not good for anyone. Like Activision Blizzard obviously hasn't got the best name at the moment. They need something to help their reputation, and this isn't doing it any wonders at all.
No, it's not helping. At least it didn't say error. What was it, 53, I want to say, for Diablo 3, their famous last misstep?
Yeah, no, it's up there.
It's up there, but at least they didn't write a server number error.
Like I remember the first time I thought I was going to get a game, I think it was in a queue 40,000 or something like that. I got to 0, and then it was like logging in the game. So, here we go, and then kicked me out, and it was back into a 20,000 queue again. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's like, I can't believe there's people there sitting there waiting to get games, then in the middle of games just getting booted as well. Like, if you want to play this game, just wait. Don't pay for that pack they've got going
no.
either.
You wouldn't give them a cent yet, would you?
Like, no, you wouldn't. If you'd pay for this game, you'd be furious. Like, it is free to play, and there's obviously a whole bunch of stuff we can say about that because they really are. Like, I had to shop around the store on the Xbox to actually find the free version of the game to play because you go to new releases and straight away it's trying to sell you that $59.95 pack.
Yep.
Straight on the store, and you have to actually go in and type in Overwatch 2 to find the free to download thing. So, like, I know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to pay money for a free to play game as it is, which I think's, it's a bit cheeky if you ask me.
It is. And I bet you were still able to buy their in-game currency and the paid upgrade to the game, even when the game wasn't working. I doubt they did the honourable thing and just quietened those down.
Absolutely you could. And I get, and there's already reports out there that if you want to unlock some of the best skins, you're going to be playing ridiculous amounts of hours just to get that. And that's part of their ploy is to, like, make you enjoy the gameplay of the game so much and then go, I'm never going to get there, but I will just spend the $20 to get the skin because I like the game now. So, again, it's all cheeky stuff, Troy. I don't know if I'm down for it. Like, I get the free-to-play model. Fortnite's perfected it. They actually have a good game that works in the background, and the skins they offer are really good, and the only skins I ever pay for are the ones that are generally linked to some other, like, franchise or something like that, which they have worked obviously pretty hard behind the scenes to get, like your Uncharted and stuff like that. And God of War, even Halo, even though it's on a PlayStation, like, it's just ridiculous the stuff they do. Like, I can see myself spending money on that, and they actually provide a good service to the consumer, and I don't see it as money grubbing because they're actually doing some good work with their microtransactions, and it doesn't affect the game whatsoever.
Yes.
Whereas this stuff, I don't know, it just seems grubby. I don't like it.
It does, mate. And back sort of on that point, but also tying in your earlier point of the live service games being a bit wobbly day one, now does it cast Sony's decision to have, 10 live service games in the next 5 years, I want to say, launch?
Yeah.
Does it seem like maybe they're misstepping there a little?
Maybe a little bit, but Sony's been misstepping a little bit recently. So
yes.
I don't want to say too much there because we're talking about Overwatch, but it's, I just don't know about this whole, this was the first game. Overwatch 1 was one of the biggest phenomenons ever in video games. Like, everyone loved that game. It was the biggest thing going around. It got tens, it got games of the year, everything like that. And then this sort of seems like more of the same, but it's kind of got this, I don't know, it's grubby thing about it. It's not working. It's got microtransactions that, that's one of those things I thought we were past with, Star Wars Battlefront 2 back in the day when that dropped. I thought we were sort of over that stuff, and I'd prefer to pay $80 for a premium Overwatch 2 than get a free-to-play thing that's a mess. But
yep.
I don't want to speak too poorly of all that stuff because that is the negative stuff. The game, when I actually played it, was fun to play, and that's the annoying part of it, is that a game that is so fun to play. I know some people don't like they've gone 5v5 as opposed to the 6v6, and it's more sort of crash and bash now as opposed to tactical. I don't mind that. I'm more the game that's going to jump in there. I jumped in as Soldier 76 and literally just played the game as a shooter and did really well. So
yep.
I didn't mind. I had fun doing that. And I would like to do it more. I've been obviously trying to log into these servers the last couple of days and with not much avail. And as I told you, just before we went live tonight was the second time I actually managed to get into the main menu and say I'm in the server. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because we love G.E.A, but the chance I had to play the game, and maybe the queues are better. Sean Games in the chat earlier before we went on live as well. I think he was in a queue with only 20, so hopefully he's enjoying Overwatch 2 while he's listening to us. So hopefully he's chosen to listen to us over waiting queues in Overwatch 2. But, send off in the chat, Sean, if you're playing Overwatch, listen to us. We'll
Please, Sean.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think a launch for a game, especially that they tell that we're going to have a single player campaign, which is not ready yet either. I know that's a similar thing to what Halo did, launch the multiplayer, but at least Halo's multiplayer launched in a very good state. This has not.
Yes.
So it's got that going for it. I'm excited to play some Overwatch 2 campaign stuff when we get it next year because I really enjoy the characters, I enjoy the world, I enjoy the graphics, I enjoy all that kind of stuff, the gameplay. So I really would like to see the campaign stuff. And if we had campaign stuff we could play offline now while the multiplayer works itself out, the DDoS attacks aren't happening, that would be perfect because at least we can get that experience and the reviews it's getting. Some of the scores it's getting are still quite good. I don't know how that's happening in today's day and age where reviews, will give something a 6 or be a review pending final version of the game, etc. But anyway, that's enough of a rant from me. A good game that's definitely going to get better as it goes, and hopefully it does because I want to play it.
Yeah, on that point, mate, I can't imagine that even these problems will still be present in 48 hours. I really feel like Blizzard are getting a hold of this, and it sounds like from the articles, as I said, we'll discuss them later, but it sounds like they've got teams working around the clock to fix it, and they've gone from a totally unworking game to a game that you and I both got in, in sub maybe 20 hours. So I think give them another 20 hours, maybe another 48 on the high side, but they'll have this cleaned up in no time. I reckon by the weekend it'll be silky smooth and it'll be smooth sailing.
Oh, let's hope so for their sake, because obviously they can't take any more bad press. And I think I just want a lot of people working hard. They've done a lot of hard work on this game. It's been coming for a while.
Yes.
And so all the people doing all the hard work, it sucks for them because, all these attacks and stuff and people not being able to play and the negative press coming out, it's no reflection on them per se. I'm hoping the game they've created is a good game and all the Overwatch 1 fans, managed to get all their characters and all their progression from Overwatch 1 transferred over, because I know that's been another issue as well. And all that stuff sorts itself out, and sort of come Christmas time, everyone's really loving their time with Overwatch 2.
I hear you, man. And on that point from Overwatch 1, do you want to hear my conspiracy theory now, or do you want me to hold it for the news? Because it ties into the DDoS attack stuff. But I've got one point I'd love to raise.
Nah, raise it while you remember it.
All right. So, you know how we love to do the Let's installs here on Geek Aloud. I did, obviously, the Let's install for the PS5 and then the PS4. And what I noticed with the PS4 version was this is my assumption based on the following points, but I think what they've done is just removed the executable file that is Overwatch 1 and put Overwatch 2 in its slot explicitly on the PlayStation 4. If you look at the thumbnail, like once you go through the store, it's Overwatch 2 and click here to download, but once you hit the click here to download, if you look in your notification list then, it's the Overwatch 1 thumbnail. And on the list it says like whatever the launch edition of Overwatch 1 was, Overwatch something edition from the launch of number 1, like it was still titled that. So I think, pure speculation from me, and the version number also was version 3 dot something. Okay, yeah. My speculation is they did version 1 and version 2 of Overwatch 1, specifically on the PlayStation 4 here, I'm saying. And then when they've released Overwatch 2, I think they've put it in Overwatch's 1 slot as it's no longer available and they've turned the servers off. And Overwatch 2 has taken over. My suspicion is that when they did that, I think that's what's caused their DDoS attack. I don't think it's malicious actors at all. I think what's happened is the PlayStation 4 crossplay, I think, is confusing the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Like they appear to be different games, but they're talking to each other. I reckon that's what's tying their back-end servers in a massive knot. And I don't know this. I need to go and investigate. But I suspect if you played on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X with crossplay on, you still wouldn't see any PlayStation 4 players. My bet is that the small tweak they've done to get it partially working is disable cross-playing on the PlayStation 4, because I reckon that's what was causing the flood of pings to the server. You know, rogue loan of code somewhere where it's saying, hey, I'm Overwatch 1, but I want to connect to the Overwatch 2 server. And I think that's what's tying it in up. But we'll never know. They won't tell us the full story.
No, see, that's
my conspiracy theory.
I reckon you're not probably far off, because I thought to myself, I'm like, what's the bets? They've had all these issues. How easy just to blame it on DDoS attacks?
Totally.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault at all. We've been hit with these attacks, and we've sort of fixed it. Oh no, something's not working again. Oh no, we've been attacked by a second DDoS attack. Well, just to blame completely.
Well, it's kind of isn't like the expanded acronym DDoS is distributed denial of service attack.
Yeah.
So technically, if all the PlayStation 4s were trying to connect to the server and corrupting it, it is a distributed denial of service attack by all the PlayStation 4s, but it's not malicious actors. Like, people are just trying to play Overwatch 2, and I think the code on the back end is cross-talking, and that's what's tripping everyone up. I suspect they've siloed off the PlayStation 4 version of crossplay is not currently available. Looking into that after the show.
That's not how they're selling it, though.
No, not at all. That's not how they're selling it, but I suspect that's what's going on. That, and have you looked at the trophy list on the PS5? It's got the standard platinum trophy, like game, when you go in, it's like the game and then the DLC are other line items.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 has Overwatch 2, and then it's already got 3 or 4 line items of DLC content that are in there. And people are already popping them and unlocking them. But my suspicion is that's actually the Overwatch 1 list from PlayStation 4 that had the 4 DLCs, and they've renamed them for the PlayStation 5, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's another bit of evidence that, there's no reason that on launch day there should be 4 attachments of additional trophies to a brand new game. It makes sense to Overwatch 1, which has been out for some years and had multiple title updates that had those 4 things. So I think maybe Blizzard are misrepresenting the issue there a little.
I think so. I mean, they're close, Troy, to an infringement notice just for their poor launch, but I'll hold off. They've got enough problems. They don't need another infringement notice.
That's true. They don't. We'll hold off to next week, and we'll see. As long as they tie it up by the weekend, we'll refrain. But I'm right there with you, mate. If they don't have this tied up by next week, or it comes out that that's in fact what was happening, then we'll issue the infringement notice.
Yeah, straight.
But from my side, just echoing your points, mate, I've loved the gameplay. As soon as I switched to characters with guns, I was fine. All the wands and spellcasting and stuff is not me. But flick it back to guns, heck of a lot of fun. Highly recommend anyone check it out. And I want to say it was about 23 gigs a piece on any console. So it's not the biggest download in the world. You can certainly check it out. As I said, free to play. Get onto it if it's your thing. But that'll bring us to game 4, which is Destroy All Humans 2, Reprobed. Now, this is my footage and I was playing with my wife. I don't know if you tried split screen, Unky, when you played it?
Funny you should say that, because in my overtime this week was this game. It's because I've been playing a lot of split screen multiplayer with my little fella. So, yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it was my first time going, and I've only put in 2 hours at this point. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's everything that you said a few weeks ago where you gave it a full rundown, mate. But just thoroughly enjoyable game. I found the humour in it hilarious. As you said, there's a content warning at the start that's like, oh, we haven't changed any of the jokes. Was it 2011, 2012, the game originally came out? Yeah, they haven't changed anything, which is great. So, thoroughly enjoyable game. It looks good. A few performance hitches here and there. What did you think performance-wise? I don't recall, Unky.
Performance-wise, yeah, I remember saying on the Xbox back when because I got it launch day, I had a few issues with frame rate, but it seemed to only chug just before I got a hard crash.
Yes.
Since then, I haven't had any issues at all, really. Even playing multiplayer, I've had a pretty seamless experience with frame rate and stuff. And playing single player, occasionally get the odd frame rate dip here or there, but nothing really to sort of write home about. I've had no hard crashes since then either. So I think there's been a patch or two since then. So I've had no hard crashes. But it's such a really well done remake. It's really pretty. Like I've done some really cool stuff recently, and I've been sort of mainly focusing my attention on trying to get through when I'm playing by myself. Because all my little fella wants to do is just cause mayhem in the world. So we don't actually do anything like constructive in the game. But so when I play by myself, I do the objectives and all that kind of stuff. And I've found myself. I finished the Japan World campaign the other day of fighting Godzilla, their version of Godzilla. Kojilla, I think they call it. Kojilla! It's got Kojila. It's pretty funny. It's pretty racist, but it's pretty funny. But the amount of like lighting and stuff effects and the cloud and the ambient occlusion, I think they call it, just really well done just for a remake of this caliber. And I just can't believe the amount of sort of detail they've gone to for something like this. It's just so much fun. And I put all my attention into trying to finish missions by doing all the side stuff as well, because doing the side stuff unlocks all the extra skins for for crypto. So I got a Crocodile Dundee outfit the other day, and I got a
wow.
Yeah, that was for beating the Godzilla sort of last mission of the Japanese level with all the side missions and stuff done, which was really not easy to do. So I did that and got this, what's he called? Crypto Dundee, I think he's called, which is pretty cool.
That's hilarious.
Then there was I unlocked these cool like samurai things. So I've got him running around looking like Ghost of Tsushima. It's like some really cool outfits in there. So I've found myself doing a lot of that. So thoroughly enjoyable game. The only I enjoy his humor. I hate how slow he speaks though. Every time you do those cutscenes where you just one-on-one with somebody, like I find myself like just reading the things and chuckling to myself so I can press B and skip through the dialogue. It seems to go forever. The gameplay is so much fun. And it just slows to a stall as you just like, it's that old like Fallout where you just sort of stand and look at each other and just have these conversations. And I get we've moved away from that now, and I can see why, because it's really hard to go from all that action gameplay just to two characters talking to each other with really slow dialogue. Because he's talking like Jack Nicholson, which is a very slow cadence of talking, it just takes forever to get the dialogue out. As funny as it is, it's like, come on, let's go.
I hear you, mate, but I'm so enjoying. I'm only 2 hours in, but I'm really enjoying that Jack Nicholson impersonation, and I haven't been skipping forward at all. I've just been letting it play and thoroughly enjoying my time with it. I should know. Excuse me if I haven't already, this was on a PlayStation 5. And to your point, mate, they have released a couple of patches. I believe we're 2 patches deep at this point. And it runs flawlessly. I haven't seen any hard crashes. The only thing I'll note is that, when it gets very on-screen visually effect intensive, that's when you'll see it really dip into the frame rate and it's noticeable. But other than that, no issues whatsoever. I'm thoroughly enjoying my time with the remake. And if you like the original, you're definitely going to enjoy this one, I reckon.
Oh, I totally agree. And if you're a Ratchet and Clank fan, even, I think it's got some of that weaponry stuff that with some upgrades, you've really got some unique weapons to use and stuff. And those Ratchet and Clank sort of platform fans of the more recent Ratchet and Clank, especially with the graphical fidelity this game's got, like you might be a fan of this. Like a little bit different, a little bit more crude, but some of those weapons, like calling in a meteor strike and these grenades that eventually, which I've got now, upgrades my favorite gun, that if you shoot out a grenade, it actually drags cars, people, everything into it. Then you can trigger it and explode it. Then now I've got to ability where anything that explodes then turns into ammo as well. It's a really cool upgrade to that weapon. So there's some really cool upgrades and stuff to go, and just a great fun game to play. It's one of those ones that you can just switch your mind off and not think too much.
Yeah, slapstick fun. Highly enjoyable. Highly recommended. Now, Game 5 this evening. Unky Dunky, over to you for your lead investigation of Dying Light 2.
Now, I know this is an old one. I actually had to check because I'm like, did this game come out this year? Because I was like, maybe
Was it this year?
It was. It was January this year.
Wow, January 7th, now that I've said that.
That sounds right. I think that's right. But it was this year. But this game is now fast sort of getting back into my top 5 because I put it away for a little bit. I never finished. I know you finished it.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I've rolled credits. I didn't 100% it, but I did roll credits on the main story, yes.
Yeah, but like I'd obviously been playing a fair bit of Last of Us remaster or remake as well.
Yep.
And I was in that zombie vibe. I'm like, I want something that it sort of just naturally brought me back into Dying Light. I was at a point in the story where a couple of times I tried jumping back in and then bounced because I knew I was at a point in the story where if I keep playing, I'd have to keep going. I wasn't really in the mood for it.
Yeah.
So I'll push through this story part so I can get back to the open world stuff. And I'm really happy I did because this sort of, it kind of, when you don't know what you feel like playing for quite a while, then something finally just clicks and you're like, I'm back into this and that's what you want to play. Yep. That's what happened with Dying Light 2 in the last sort of 2-3 days. I just sort of started playing it. And that's all I felt like I wanted to play. The combat felt visceral. Like I've seen they've updated it pretty recently with a whole bunch of extra content it's got. I'm not sure if it used to have a field of view slider, but it's got that now. So I ran that back a little bit, which was always enjoyable with Dying Light because I think they have a pretty close up. I know you love to ram it all the way back. I didn't ram it quite far that back, but I ran it back enough where it's more now like you can see a whole lot more stuff in the game, which made it way more enjoyable. They've got some new graphical modes in there, which are they call them experimental, and it's got like gritty dark, normal dark, and stuff like that. So you put it to gritty, and it looks more like a Walking Dead. Like it tones all the colors down.
Does it look like an Xbox 360 game?
Kind of, yeah, like brown and yellow, yeah. An old Fallout game, but like it's really like you can chuck it on that. It does sort of a little bit more to the mood of the game. Like I've turned it back off to the normal game now, but it was really cool going back in and playing with those settings. But just being like I'd forgotten how much fun this game actually is to play. Like the melee is so visceral and like thuddy. Like it's meaty to like hit people with like melee weapons. And I've gone and got a really good bow as well, so I'm really enjoying the bow combat now.
Are you playing this on PlayStation 5 with the dual sense?
Nah, Series X, unfortunately.
The dual.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, to your point, mate, the melee mushy head feel, the dual sense, it's nice on it.
Oh, I can only imagine. But hard drive space. Xbox has got that extra terabyte that you just slot in the back. PS5, you got to like take the whole thing apart like a transformer.
Indeed.
I've just been like smashing through the main campaign, doing a whole bunch of extra content. I've managed to get myself a level 9 like axe and upgrade. I found like one of the best mods. It's like a charm you can get for your melee weapons. It pretty much makes the durability never go away.
Ooh, that's cool.
Amazing, because as everyone knows in Dying Light 2, eventually all weapons break. But with this charm, you've got to do this crazy thing to get this charm.
Did you say that was a mod or it's part of the game?
No, it's part of the game. So it's a I said mod instead of charm. So it's this charm you get for your weapons that you can put on it, but you can remove the charm and put it back on any time to give the weapon 500 durability.
Nice. Which
will max out its durability whenever you want. It just uses 400 mutation something or others every time. But I've got now like over 5,000 mutations just by staying out at night because my weapon that I've got this thing on is so powerful that I'm not even scared to be out at night anymore. I can just kill all these like ridiculously strong zombies really quickly with this weapon and get tons of that. So now this charm that I've got, I can put it on any weapon whenever I want, remove it, replace it. So any weapon I've got now, especially my level 9 gold axe that I've got that's now got fire and electricity in it, it can never break essentially with this charm. So it's elevated this game so much for me knowing I can just sort of walk through the hard bits if I need to, and I'm not going to get stuck. I know apparently the end of the game is not the best part of the game. I've heard it's not great. You can probably speak to it without saying
I didn't have an issue with it. No spoilers, but I didn't have an issue with the end of it. I felt it was in keeping with all the rest of the game.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know. So I'm not sure how far I'm at. If I give you a story point, I'm just to the point where I turned and apparently killed a doctor and the repercussions of that. And now...
Could you give me a location where the doctor was?
Can I say the city's been bombed for the first time?
Yeah, it's still not helping me, man. It's not. It's as we just discussed, we weren't even sure if it came out this year. It has been a long time since I've played it.
So Lawan, which is the main female character, her and like Hakon, who's the other main character, she had a chance to kill him. I made her not kill him. She became part of the Night Runners.
Yes, that is towards the end of the story. Yes.
Okay, cool. So I've played a fair bit beyond that now, so I must be getting close to the end.
Yes, the other thing that I will note, though, is that there's, I want to say like 6 or 8 story points that branch. And as you were just alluding to, like it gives you the option to kill someone or save somebody. Yeah. So it's possible that I made different choices to you and saw that exchange at a different point.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It sounds like you're approaching the end, definitely.
I know there's one area of the game that I haven't, I say I haven't been to. I have been to it. It's not unlocked on the map yet, but I knew I could get high-level weapons by sort of glitching and going under the water before the water gets drained to get these high-level weapons. So I've been there. That isn't unlocked yet, so I know I've still got to unlock that. So I know I've still got a little bit to go, but just I had to put a shout-out to Dying Light 2. That is a game that did apparently come out this year, and it's now, it's elevating itself back into the top games for this year. I started to think about it this week, just what games that come out this year and what might be in sort of, ours as G.E.A. and myself's top 10 for the year. But there's quite a few out there now that thinking back that I completely forgotten it was this year, and like stuff like Sifu and stuff, and how much I love Sifu and all that kind of stuff. And Dying Light's probably the earliest game this year, I would have to say, that came out that's now sitting sort of high on my list, that where I didn't think expect it to be, but in hindsight with all the other games that have come out, it's actually been quite a good game. So
do you recall they recently delayed the first story DLC for this again? Do you know when that's landing now? Is it still coming out this year, or was it pushed to next year?
I reckon it might have been pushed to next year. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it is this year still, but I know they've got not story content. They have created these 2 acts, like an Act 1 and Act 2 of something in there. I haven't really delved too much into it. So there is something in there in terms of DLC and extra content they have added.
Yeah, so. There's been 6 DLC drops, I want to say, but the first 3 were like one outfit, like pants, top, and hat, or shoes, pants, and top. And then the second 3 were the exact same thing for a different character model. So technically there's 6 bits of DLC out, but I believe all 6 of them are just one cosmetic item each. It's not really nothing to write home about.
Gotcha. It's one thing you could say about these developers. They support their games. Like, they supported Dying Light 1 up until last year.
Yep. So what was that, 5 or 6 years, I think, they supported it post-launch?
So, like, they'll keep supporting this game. Like, a lot of people, a few days say, I wish, Dying Light 2 had guns. But now that I'm, like, down with the whole bows and post-apocalyptic stuff, it makes no sense to have guns, because where would the ammo keep coming from? So I get it, and I really like the bows and crossbows and stuff they've added. The combat and the melee stuff's so visceral that I don't necessarily need guns. And, if you want guns, Dead Rising 2 is finally coming out sometime next year, maybe.
Wait and see. I have no further points for Dying Light 2, do you?
No, that's it. We've spoken about it plenty of times this year. I just thought I'd shine a light on Dying Light 2, just because it's lighting up my life at the moment.
Beautifully. I'm going to duck into the next game, mate, but if you wouldn't mind just taking a second, if you can you look up the release date of that DLC? We'll get right back to it.
I can.
But while you look at that, Unky, let me start to talk to the fine folks at home about IAI again. I think this is the 3rd week in a row I'm mentioning it, but I've got to say, I've 1,000-pointed it. If it was on PlayStation, I'd have the Platinum, but I played it on Xbox, so I've got the 1,000-point achievements, and this game is a heck of a lot of fun. I just want to shout it out one more time. This game is phenomenal. I think it's $10, I want to say, on the Xbox store, and I think it's an absolute gem. It's available on PlayStation as well, but I don't know the price there. Relatively confident it's $10 on Xbox, but if you like these top-down shooters, I think it was around the 8-hour mark for me to get the full everything unlocked. So a very enjoyable 8 hours coming in, and it's just, your bullet hell. And once again, of course, I was playing this with the arcade stick, so far more easy for my old arthritic hands to play it. But absolutely phenomenal game, and this is one of the later levels. I wanted to show the later levels after last week, Bully pointing out that the gameplay didn't look that intense. So I thought this week I'd treat everyone to, I think this is the second to last mission you're looking at now. Unky, how did you go with the release date of the DLC?
Looks like November 10, Troy.
Oh, perfect. Not far off at all.
Not far off. Perfect time for me to get back into it, I think.
Indeed, mate. Good on you for having it installed and ready to go for that DLC. Perfect. I love it. Now, Unky, did you by chance get a chance to go hands-on with IAI?
Now I did, and I'd actually threw a comment in the chat last week, which Bully didn't read, unfortunately. It was one of the many comments that I wrote that he didn't read last week. So poor form Bully. He only had one thing to read the comments by the people in the chat. So tut tut. Anyway, that's probably why he fell down a cliff and got eaten by spiders. But that's another story, which we'll hear about next week. The 120 mode, yep, great. It's again one of those games where, like, because it's a top-down sort of shootery game, it is like the 120. You don't really notice it too much compared to a 60 frame per second anyway.
Okay.
What I did notice though, Troy, when you first shot your gun in this game, were you a little underwhelmed with the sound effect?
No, I didn't. I didn't think one way or the other about the sound effects. They all just seemed appropriate. Nothing blew my hair back though. But no, I didn't feel disappointed. What was disappointing?
I just did not like the way that initial. Whether it gets better or not, I don't know. But
can I ask? Was it the X button you were hitting, which is the only one on screen, or was it the right trigger?
No, just the right. The normal shooting, part that you would do, and it was just the noise was just so underwhelming. It was just like a. There was no meat behind it. There was no gusto. There was no.
Do you know where that is?
Hey.
Do you know where it is? I can tell you exactly where they've put those better sound effects. If you upgrade the guns 10 times, there's a 10 times upgrade for your main shooter. Once you've fully upgraded, it's quite the audible treat. But you're right, it does sound very low impact. It
sounds like shooting a pea through a straw. Like, it's just disturbingly weak, and I couldn't get past it. Like, I know it feels fun to play, but like I'm shooting these little like this seems ridiculous. Like I'm a spaceship in space shooting things. Like there's any other sound effect they could have used other than someone shooting a pea through a straw, and that's what they decided to go with. And I'm like, come on, make a good first impression. Yes, I know the gameplay is there, and like it's probably gonna, and like I enjoy the bullet hell stuff there. Like obviously, I love stuff like Returnal, but Returnal, as soon as you shoot that gun, it sounds good.
Yes.
The first time I shot this gun, I was like, nope.
Very true.
I bounced because it just was that first impression. And I know you're a big one on first impressions, and games want to make an impact very quickly. And for me, like I like a lot of games and a lot of things. Like I'm not very hard pleased when it comes to stuff, but for me to just go straight away, no, don't like it. That was enough for me to not play it anymore. So I know you love it. I know the gameplay is there. It's a game that I really enjoyed that genre back in the day as well of top-down shooting. But for some reason, just that main first sound effect of that gun just wasn't enough for me.
Let me tell you this, if you were playing with an arcade stick, would that maybe with the game feel have got you over the line past the sound effects?
That's the thing. I had no issue with the way the game felt. I thought it actually felt really smooth to play, especially at 120 frames. It was literally that sound effect. I cannot get past it.
Wow. Well, in that case, the developers, one patch and you can fix Unky Dunky's complaint, get him straight back in there. Maybe
just give it a bit of oomph. That's all.
Well, I think if they start at the level 5 sound effects maybe and just use 5 and disperse it over 10, they'll get away with it.
So that's all they need to do.
Fair enough. 2 big thumbs up from me, 2 big thumbs down from Unky Dunky. Play III with a grain of salt. But that brings us to the end of our games interrogation and deliberation. It's now time for the overtime. Unky Dunky, where has your overtime been spent this week?
Oh, this is too much, Troy. Because of last week's, or not last week's, week before, because I wasn't on last week. Well, I thought it was, but I wasn't. Sorry, everyone. We did a standoff which had the God of War 3 first boss as one of the best boss fights of all time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm going to go play this boss fight again. And then I found myself back into the swings of God of War 3. So jumping back into that and really enjoying the nostalgia. I remember I was playing this game and I was living in Malvern East, and then I moved in with my girlfriend, now wife, to Malvern East, to Camberwell, and it was just one of those times where I just remember playing this game, and that was the only game I played, and it just sort of gave me a bit of nostalgia in that. And I know it's had a remaster, so I was playing with better graphics, and what a game. Like, Santa Monica Studio, they know what they're doing. Like, this game, obviously much different to 2018's God of War, which was sort of set behind the shoulder and stuff, and you got a little bit further back, but they really worked with the camera angles and stuff back then as well. When you notice the game pulled back when it like wants to show a massive scene with big enemies, and then it zooms right in when they really need to. And they were sort of working with that whole, one shot idea back then with the way they worked their camera angles and stuff without probably even knowing it. But such a cinematic experience, very visceral, great combat. Great game. I'm not going to say too much more. It's an old game, but just been getting back into that.
Excellent. Now, did it change your opinion, your vote for the best opening boss fight?
No.
Would you have pushed harder for this one?
No, probably not. It was more drawn out than I remember. I remember from the standoff. I remember just fighting him, but it actually draws out quite a while over climbing up G.E.A and working your way up and doing so. It slows down a little bit, which takes away a little bit of the gusto for the boss fight, but it's still a great fight. It's just it's still one of the best openings to a game. I'll say that.
Yep.
Just not as good as God of War 2018. Then I think Bully spoke about it last week briefly. Was Grounded. I jumped into that because that had its full release as well. So it was nice to jump back into. I started a brand new game with a new character that looks exactly like my son, albeit with glasses. So that was good fun. I won't say too much about it. Looks great, runs great. It's Game Pass. Just give it a go. If you like your Fallout-y sort of games, but you want to be, and you love Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, this is the game for you.
Perfect.
13, I think the last time I spoke about 13, I was relatively, not low, and I was high-ish, saying I enjoyed the game, but I got stuck to a point where I thought I was at a hard save point, and I had to restart the level again.
Yes.
Restarted the level again, got through it, there was no issues, it didn't do the same glitch again, I must have just killed the wrong enemy at the wrong time or something the first time through, and been playing that, really enjoying the combat and the gameplay and just the way the game that looks. I've spoken in the past about just the cell shading, and I think it still works for the game. I think the remake of this game actually has been beneficial to it. I think the fact that it now actually does run at 60 frames per second, not 12 as it used to on a next-gen console, speaks wonders for it. So great game. I'm hoping to finish that. I'll finish that soon. Hopefully I'm not too far off.
Have they patched in Rumble yet?
No, there's still no rumble. I did notice that. I was playing today. It's very weird to shoot a gun and not have any feedback whatsoever through your controller.
That's crazy.
Still very strange to do, but I'm very intrigued to see where the story's going. I don't think I actually ever finished it back in the day. I know Bully said it ends on a cliffhanger, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Now, you're going to be impressed with this one because you've been harking on about this game for a while, and it's finally hit Game Pass this week, Troy.
Oh, which game was this?
This is Chivalry 2. Troy.
I did not know that it entered Game Pass, man. That is exciting news. So you've gone hands-on. What did you think?
I have. I initially gave it a go because it was part of the cloud gaming, and thank God it was, because I love just being able to, even though I know I'm not getting the best experience, it gives me enough of a taste of a game to be like, I want to install this game on my console.
Yep.
Which is exactly what it did. I had one game in Chivalry 2, and I was like, yep, I'm installing this. This thing is, from the moment you're doing the tutorial and you've got the guy teaching you how to play the game, you're like, this thing does not take itself seriously at all.
Yes.
And I am all for it.
It's great, isn't it?
It is fantastic. So I downloaded it straight away, and I've had and it's one of those things, I play Call of Duty and I can get a little bit angry when I'm playing Call of Duty if I'm getting shot. I'm like, you fucking lost, you're just like, okay, just calm down. This game, I don't care if I die. I'm like, I kind of find myself laughing sometimes. Like I got my head cut off by a guy on a horse. I was like, that's pretty funny. And then you get runs where you maybe kill 4 or 5 guys at once. So come on! And then you get shot by an archer, or you get some guy shooting what are they called, a giant cannon thing, but back in the day.
Trebuchet? Catapult. Yeah.
Trebuchet, catapult. Yeah, you're just I'm running and running and running, and all of a sudden you just get absolutely destroyed by a thing. You're like, I don't have no idea where that came from. But that was humorous. And just the way
Sorry, mate, please continue.
No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, mate, it's got one of the funnest achievements in my recent memory is getting a kill by killing someone by throwing a bit of bread at them. I think the bit of bread only does 14 points of damage, so you've got to get a headshot and they've already got to have taken wood. But I challenge you, sir, try and get the bit of bread, kill somebody achievement. That's a lot of fun to be had. A lot of humorous deaths.
I enjoy that because I have found joy in doing the old LBRB throwing of my weapon at people and just watching it launch into them. Yep. I'll just do it as my first move now. I'll just try and throw it at someone that's going after someone else. He's got no idea it's coming and just launching at him. And goddamn, it's just this. Just like I was saying with Dying Light, the combat just feels fun to play. It's very it's got a nice thud to it, and you don't have to wait too long from dying to getting back into the game. It just has you as another character just running full pelt into the battle. Like if you don't keep holding forward, he'll eventually stop, but he runs for a fair bit before you actually stop pressing the joystick, which I love. And you can throw up these awesome comments and stuff like that as well. And I don't know, it's just cathartic. Like you don't have to think too much at all. And I'm not in it to try and even win the game, really. I'm just in it for a good time, just trying to lop someone's head off or have a crack at someone with a bow on a horse and just ruin his day. It's just, I don't know. Like,
have you tried the flaming arrows yet? They're a lot of fun.
No flaming arrows. I've only played probably maybe 3 games fully.
Yep.
I've won I reckon I've won 2, and I've played like one of the 64 player matches, and I played one of the, I think it's the main thing on the left that gives the horse, whatever's the horse.
Yep.
One, so I've jumped into that a couple of times. I don't know what you have to do to get a horse, or whether you just randomly spawn on a horse sometimes, maybe.
Oh, gosh, it's been a while since I've played. Is it maybe one of the classes has it a power-up? Maybe you've got to earn it over time and there's a horse? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying earlier about Overwatch 2 not being able to get into a game. So there's a game I'll talk about later. This game, I'm hoping that with Game Pass now, it's got a whole new influx of players, which is great. But
I'm going to jump on there and cut some heads off later now that I know it's in there.
Like the wait times were nothing to get into games. Like you've got 64 player matches, so you got 32 players a match, and these lobbies are filling up real quick. Like I have not had to wait like more than a minute to get into a game each time.
Perfect. Yeah. Do you know if For Honor is still in Game Pass?
I'm not sure. I know For Honor is a lot more methodical and slower paced and tactical.
But Chivalry 2, once you get your sword arm in with Chivalry 2, jump over and try For Honor and you'll be surprised at how good you are. The skills are transferable, man.
Oh, that's good, because I remember playing Chivalry 2 and during the tutorial, like they keep throwing more mechanics at you. Like, okay, this one does this. You can block and do a parry. You can do a riposte. I'm like, oh my god! Like how many? Like I imagine most people when they run into this game just tap an R right trigger just to keep slashing, and then it's not the case because you go up against people and you realize you actually have to block and use your overhead attack and your stab attack and stuff, or you can cancel it. I try to do the stab and then cancel it out to like an overhead and try and trick people and stuff that way. But like this, it's just brutal and visceral. It's just like I can see why you were having so much fun with it, because it is just fun in a game. Like, it's not. It doesn't. The fact that it doesn't take itself seriously means I do not give a shit about my kill death ratio at all.
Perfect. Welcome to my world.
I love it. I mean, some people are born with not having to care. Some people are actually good at game story and need to worry about it sometimes. I don't care at all this time, so it says a lot about the game. Okay. You spoke about it last week. Thanks to my recommendation that you recommended to Bully, which was Proteus.
Yep.
I played a lot more of Proteus. When I recommended it to you, all I had done was the cloud gaming through a tablet device on an Xbox in Queensland with the worst Wi-Fi ever. Mm-hmm. So that's saying a lot about the game before I'd even actually managed to play it properly on a 77-inch monitor.
Yeah.
Since I managed to do that, this is, if you wanted a new style Doom, Duke or whatever, this is it. It's in droves. Like the levels lay out the same as you mentioned last week. You can change the graphical options to be more new or.
Which way did you lean on that?
I'm sort of a mixture of both. Like I've kept the graphics looking really nice, but I've kept the characters that I'm shooting as the old style pixelated
2D sprites. Yeah, right. Yeah, did you rack the field of view?
I did. I didn't rack it completely fisheye like you would again, but I did bring it back a little bit more than what it was. But it's just the music kicks in nicely. It's got real good sound effects in terms of your guns, and the shotgun sounds really good. I've unlocked the super shotgun, I think they call it. I've unlocked that.
Yeah, right.
So I've moved away a fair bit through the levels, and I've gone back and replayed levels to try and find all the hidden extra stuff like you can in Doom. But no, it's just it's hitting on all the levels. It's such a great game again for the price. I think it was a Game Pass as well.
Yeah, Game Pass, mate. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's a $59.95 game on PlayStation. So just do yourself a favor. You've got an Xbox, pick up Proteus. If you like shooting games, usually good games, just give Proteus a go.
I agree, mate. 2 thumbs up from my side. Now, is that it for your overtime, sir?
I think actually that might be it for my overtime. I've probably played a few extra things, but that's all I'm willing to put down this week, Troy.
Perfect. Well, mine will be quite short compared to your impressive list. Mine, Battlefield 2042. I'm still throwing hours into it, and I still love it. I'm playing at least one game a day for the 10,000 XP boost for your first online game of the day. But that game has the player base, I feel, has increased. Like, I reckon I'm matching up in half the time that I was previously. Like, empirical evidence.
20 minutes in.
No, mate, no. It's a lot quicker than Overwatch 2.
Oh, good. So less than 24 hours.
Indeed. But relatively quick to get straight into matches and a heck of a lot of fun. They've done a lot of patching. If you haven't rechecked out Battlefield 2042, once again, another weekly reminder, I think it's time to check it out. That game is gone. I don't know what's after Gold and Platinum. It's ready to play now anyway. And then my second game that I've been playing that I'll talk about this evening is the Ascent. It's got its hooks back into me. I think it was when I stopped playing IAI, once I got the 1,000 points on that, I still wanted some sort of, twin stick shooter, and that game is it in droves. I'm really enjoying the Ascent. That game, once again, if you checked it out at launch and thought it was a bit hit and miss, they've really patched it up the wazoo, and it's 2 thumbs up, the Ascent. Get back into it if you haven't already. And there's DLC up for it now. They've added a post-main campaign mission, all 3.
Oh, nice.
Yes, but that's it for my overtime. That can only mean one thing, Kicking a newsroom door.
I was going to say, I thought it was Bully's overtime, but that's right. Bully got eaten by spiders for like clips, so we'll forget about him.
That's right. It's on to the news. Now, Unky, who has the right to remain newsworthy this evening?
Oh, mate, this big story. I think it occurred yesterday, where CD Projekt Red announced like 1,000 different projects that they're working on, which is quite funny considering, I don't know whether they read the room or not, but Cyberpunk's only just started doing well, so maybe don't announce 4,000 projects that you're working on that are probably going to come out 2020 if you're lucky.
Oh, I thought it was the other way, mate. I thought the venture capital money came out of the woodworks with the hit of end runners and people just started throwing money at them and so they just, all right, we'll just greenlight the next 10 projects.
Mate, I think you're not wrong. I think the reason they are announcing all this stuff now is because of the goodwill we've got with edge runners and Cyberpunk finally hitting, good numbers and stuff like that. I think if you're going to announce stuff, you may as well do it while you've got goodwill towards your game. So, they're going to capitalise on that. Why not? But they did announce quite a few things. So I'll go through them. We've got Project Sirius, which is a game developed by Molasses Flood with support from CD Projekt Red, set in the Witcher universe. Compared to existing CD Projekt Red games, this one targets a much broader audience. Sirius will include single-player and multiplayer gameplays. So I'm not sure what you read into that. Is that a new Witcher game, but not Witcher 4? Or is it Witcher 4? I don't know.
L4, take your guess. I'm not sure. Is it? Is that maybe the Stadia game that's coming out now to all of the consoles now? They're shutting the Stadia down.
Just like there was it's not the news and stuff. There was apparently a Kojima game that was coming to Stadia as well, which is now apparently not happening. So that was going to go solo to Stadia, which apparently has been shut down. So I won't go into that.
Shut down or moved to another platform?
Well, probably now moved to another platform, I would imagine. But yeah, so I don't know whether this is Witcher 4, because I know Project Polaris is the next trilogy in Witcher games. So whether that's 4, 5, and 6, or whether that's something completely different.
The way it's laid out, the fact that it's Sirius and then the new Witcher trilogy, it would suggest it's a standalone property. Maybe it's a third DLC hit for The Witcher 3. How about that?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they don't give us a whole lot of details, but
no.
I'm keen for some new Witcher content, and
yeah. Well, could that just be the code name for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X version of The Witcher?
Oh, that is supposed to be coming still, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cooking somewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, you never know. I mean, now they're saying they're also working on a trilogy as well. So I just don't know where they're getting all this time to spend on these games, to be honest. They've finally fixed Cyberpunk, so maybe they've got other studios ready to work on these other IP. I don't know.
They've spun up a new studio in America. I know that much. And was it half of the development team from The Witcher have moved from where they were originally based to the new studio? So they're opening at least one new studio.
And I think with Project Polaris, which is the next 3 Witcher games, I think they said very loosely, well, I think they don't think it's loosely, but it is, that they're going to release 3 Witcher games in the space of 6 years from now. I'm like,
I think that's high hopes.
like when they announced Cyberpunk in 2012, and they want to release 3 Witcher games in the space of 6 years from now. That's not happening.
No, not unless they've done a lot of AI auto generation of things.
I'll tell you right now. So after the 3, we've then got Project Canis Majoris, which is apparently a fully fledged release in the Witcher universe to be developed by external studio under the supervision of experienced developers who have previously worked on Witcher games. They intend to use Unreal Engine 5 toolset to create Polaris. So again, another Witcher game. So we're getting a lot of Witcher apparently in the next 15 years.
Excellent.
Which is good to know, because it's probably going to be out in 20 years' time when, our arthritis is well and truly done and we, have to play games in our minds, hopefully.
Have they announced a new Witcher season for Netflix, maybe?
Not. I know there is another one coming.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Yeah, hopefully get one of those games out of the, however, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Witcher games in the thing ready to go, the pipeline. Hopefully one of them releases alongside the show. And good to see we've got Project Orion, which is the next Cyberpunk expansion. I think this thing will do well, given the uplift in sort of player numbers we've had for Cyberpunk since Edgerunners has come out as well. Unfortunately, I haven't actually had a chance to get back into Edgerunners and finish off that series yet. I'm not sure if you have.
No, I haven't either. I've seen the first 2 and I'm keen to get back there, but I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, so I'm keen to see that. I think that's supposed to be 2023. We're going to get Project Orion, which I can see them hitting that date, hopefully, now that they've worked out all their issues with how the Cyberpunk works, and they're not too worried. I think they've come out and said that this expansion is not coming out on the older gen consoles, which is going to do wonders for them. And then we've got the new IP currently under as Project Hater. So a new original IP for the first time in history. CD Projekt Red is developing an entire... Why is it that for the first time in history CD Projekt Red developing an entirely new universe from scratch? Didn't they develop Cyberpunk as an entirely new universe?
Well, The Witcher was definitely from books originally. I don't know if Cyberpunk could well be a book that they adapted. I'm not sure.
I didn't think it was, but, this is what they're saying. They're saying that they're developing an entirely new universe from scratch. So early conceptual work began in 2021. So with COVID, they've probably had about, 2 months worth of work on it.
Have they said, I feel like I read it somewhere, but is this also a third-person RPG, open world type game? Is it in the same vein as Cyberpunk and The Witcher?
I think it is. I would just have to assume, based on their pedigree, that it's going to have to be either a first-person or third-person action RPG.
Cyberpunk's set in the future, The Witcher's set in the past. What's the chance that the new IP is set in modern times?
It's just a G.E.A.
Yeah, that'll be the G.E.A. 6 killer.
Yeah, it will. I mean, G.E.A. Who knows when that game's coming out? I mean, we've seen all the leak stuff, so probably 5 years away.
Yeah, Cyberpunk have half a chance of getting this out there.
They do. There's half a chance of getting it out before 2029, maybe. It's awesome. But no, so CD Projekt Red got a lot of, buns in the oven, so to speak, at the moment. I'd like to see, one of these games out in the next year or so. You'd like to think one of these Witcher projects is at least out by the end of next year, but I say that. Cyberpunk, the expansion, will probably definitely be out 2023, I would imagine. That's what they're hoping to hit, and that'll be the first one we see, I would imagine, out of all of these.
Oh, well, I don't know. When's that Witcher remake happening? If you've got a spare tab, Unky, have a look at that. When is the new release date for the PS5 and Xbox Series X version of The Witcher? That's what I want to know. I reckon that'll be the next one out of the gate for CD Projekt Red, is my point. But other than that, I love the way it looks. Everything about it. It tickles me pink. I love all the CD Projekt Red games. I'm just wondering if I've lost you, Unky. Have you hit mute, or have I actually lost you? Unky Dunky, hello. Are you there, sir? I think we've lost Unky Dunky. We will take a very short break, and I'll see if I can't fix this technical issue. I'll be right back. This is us. We're back. Welcome. Apologies for the brief technical outage, but Unky Dunky has returned. Hello. Have you got us there?
Mate, I am back. I think it was something to do with the Xbox, running this new Zencaster through Xbox. I heard some kind of Xbox weirdy noise thing going on, some kind of notification in my headset. Then all of a sudden I lost you on audio, and then you lost me on audio. But we're back.
We're back. Let's move on, shall we, to story 2 for the evening? Unless we had any final wrap-ups from you, mate, from The Witcher?
Nah, that's enough from The Witcher and CD Projekt Red. They've just got 1,000 projects going. I'm sure one of them will be out soon, hopefully, maybe.
Perfect. All right, story 2 this evening is from Gizmodo. It's me at the first peek at the Super Mario movie. Unky Dunky, where's it happened?
Mate, I'm going to point out the first thing that apparently all of the internet pointed out was, where is Mario's ass? Apparently everyone's been like up in arms that like he's got no booty. I'm all down for that. I'm of the no booty parade here. Like, I find it really hard to get myself an ass no matter how much I squat. Cannot get myself a bum to fill out a pair of pants. So I'm with you there, Mario. So I'm all down for that. But you'd like to think being a plumber, always in the squat, always under sinks and always like cleaning out shit under people's toilet. But this guy would have a bit more junk in the truck. It could be the position he's standing in, but I can see where the internet's going with that. You'd like to think he's got a bit more bootay there, but no. This poster,
he was very round in Odyssey, so I can see where they've trimmed off the roundness.
Honestly, we saw his nipples for the first time in Odyssey. You'd like to think this guy's got some booty.
He needs the. Do you remember the old film clip from? Who's that trio from New York? Beastie Boys. Do you remember that Beastie Boys film clip where they dress up in all the olden day garb? One of them puts on a massive booty in that. Maybe you need that after your squat session.
He needs that. So if you zoom in closely, Mario does have a succinct lack of ass, but apart from that, I'm actually excited by the poster. Like, it actually looks really cool. This is kind of half of it. I think if you scroll down, it shows the full poster.
Scrolling. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, so very excited. The full trailer for this, or the first trailer for this game, drops for us in Australia tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Comic-Con, I think, having an event where they're going to show it there, and Nintendo's having a direct there, and they're going to drop the first trailer for this game. So I'll be very interested to see what Mr. Jurassic Park himself is like playing Mario, if they do happen to show the voice or not.
I was going to say, has it been confirmed yet? Have they included a sampling of his voice?
Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed. I'd be pretty mad if they don't drop a sample of the voice. Surely there's got to be an "It's a Me" or something in there based on his voice. But I'm hoping it's something that the internet's either going to love. Well, let's face it, like Sonic, they're going to love it or they're going to hate it. Thankfully, the hate for Sonic's initial look turned into a brand new Sonic for that movie, and thankfully they changed that. I don't know how you go about recasting a multi-million-dollar Hollywood star as a character of Mario this late in the piece, but yeah.
No, well, Chris Pratt has done no wrong in my eyes. I can't see him giving him the boot, but time will tell.
So, I mean, they gave Dinklage the boot for Destiny, so if that can happen, anything can happen for it.
So you're saying Christopher Nolan? Not Christopher Nolan, excuse me. Nolan North is the name I was looking for. Yep. Nolan North will be the replacement voice?
Nolan North for Mario, yep. Or Troy Baker, either way. They both can do the job.
Very cool. And it's done by Illumination. I had no idea. That's cool.
What are they? Minions.
Minions.
Right. Yeah, so very good animation. Probably the perfect studio for something like Mario, I would think.
Conspiracy theory time. Do any minions have any booty? Or have they used a minion skin on Mario, reskinned it for Mario?
Well, I reckon because minions, they're pretty much flat the whole way down, aren't they? So maybe they have used the same skin for Mario. They've just split a minion, giving him some proper legs, and that's it.
Yep.
Giving him some
Put on these overalls, exactly. Yeah, get on with it. The toads are looking very minion-esque now that I've said it as well.
There they are. There you go. Come on, guys, let you go.
Illumination! Cool. Well, I look forward to hearing whatever they want to give us in that trailer. Is there a chance that... Is there a chance that Mario will just keep trying to speak and he'll just get interrupted for the whole trailer? Every other character will hear, but not Mario?
Oh, I'd love that.
Now, is it just me? I could be crazy. If I could pull out a line, I would. Can you see my cursor? You can't. at the top, Princess Peach's castle. Does that look like it's pointing a little bit past 12 to you? Like it's rotated a bit towards 1 o'clock? That's really putting me off. I really don't like the non-centered castle at the top of the globe there. Tisk tisk to that, by say.
No, it is slightly off.
That's crazy. All right, next story. I can't look at that picture anymore.
The internet's up in arms about Mario's lack of mass, and Troy's like, "Oh, the castle's fucking 1.5 degrees off to the
right." Symmetry, people. It's all about symmetry. Okay, so story 3 this evening from Kotaku. Rumoured Horizon Zero Dawn remaster reports have Bloodborne fans fuming. My first question, Unky Dunky, is it confirmed as a $129 remaster?
Well, it hasn't been confirmed, but let's face it, they probably are going to charge us that much for a remaster. God, I hope they don't. There's plenty of other articles out there about Horizon Zero Dawn apparently getting a remaster when it's not that old a game and it runs perfectly fine on a PS5, and you've got Horizon.
I've just worked out. Here's why they're remastering it only 5 years later. They've turned it into a live service game, mate. You're going to have to pay your battle pass for Aloy, and that'll unlock the extra NPC so you can progress the story.
Oh, God. Probably. I get it. I get Last of Us doing it. Last of Us like coming in more in par with like the Last of Us Part 2, and you've got the HBO series.
No.
There's rumours of a show coming for Horizon, but it's not coming anytime soon. So why give us a remaster for this game? I can see why Bloodborne fans are mad. Like, give us a Bloodborne remaster. Like, that will get people excited. I will buy Bloodborne as a brand new remake or even a remastered game. I'm not going to buy Horizon again. Like, I'll tell you right away. Like, I was day one Last of Us, but that's because I love The Last of Us. I know you did Let's Install this last week as well on The Last of Us Part 1. So I know you've got it. So I'll be interested to see if you actually played it or not.
I haven't yet, man. I saved up my pennies, though, got my 99 yams together and picked it up. I'll note that I didn't pay the ludicrous $129 for it. That is insane.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough too. But what's not fair enough is this game getting a remaster. I don't think this is warranted. Like this.
Does this change your opinion at all? This clear money grabbing from Sony. Does this change your opinion at all at the ability of Sony to do backwards compatibility of PSVR 1?
No, well, maybe that, I don't know. But I mean, the only good thing, well, I say good thing, but different thing about this is there is also apparently there's going to be an addition of, apparently according to the internet, there's reports that Guerrilla Games is also working on a Horizon Zero Dawn multiplayer for PS5 and PC, which could just sort of launch alongside this as well. Which I can only imagine.
That's the live service element.
Yeah. I can only imagine would be a sort of Monster Hunter type thing where you jump in with, I don't know, another Aloy with different skins that you can purchase to fight monsters together. I don't know. Yes, the mechanics are really good and really fun. It could be a really well polished version of Monster Hunter and play. Am I going to play it? No. I still haven't gone and finished Horizon Forbidden West. I tried this week with the fact that I jumped back into Dying Light 2 and was really enjoying that. I thought maybe I'll go back and enjoy Horizon. I just couldn't do it. It didn't have the hook. It couldn't do it. Like, the freedom of movement I had in Dying Light 2 was way more enjoyable than the movement I had in Horizon.
I told you that movement in Horizon is janky.
Yeah, it is. Compared to going from something like Dying Light that's so smooth to something that's in third person, I can't sing its praises high enough, but I actually reckon Dying Light 2's jumped Horizon Forbidden West for me this year in terms of where it sits in my games for the year. So
I can see that, man.
And I was really high on Horizon before.
You were red hot on it. Yeah.
I just have not. I've gone back every now and again to get towards the end. I've unlocked the pterodactyl, so I know I'm not far off the end of the game. It's sort of
one mission, 2 missions max.
I just can't bring myself at this point to go back and do it, and I don't know what it is. Like, I know it's a very pretty game. Mechanics are good. I just don't know what it is.
Have you considered backing it off to easy and just mowing through the last bit?
I definitely have considered that, and I think that's probably going to be what I do. I can't see myself going through for that platinum. Again,
that was an arduous platinum. I don't recommend it to anyone.
Time is a commodity, and there's a lot of good games coming out soon, and there's another news story coming up soon, which yes, the game we're going to talk about comes out next year, but the game that's sort of similar to it coming out December called Callisto Protocol, which I cannot wait for, and that is where all my time's going. I am more excited about Callisto Protocol than any other game coming out the rest of this year, including God of War. So that's where sort of my mindset is at the moment.
Perfect. I love it. So you heard it here first. Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be chopped up and segmented off in battle passes when they remaster it. Was it next year? Have they dated it at all? Yeared it?
Nah, I think it's all rumours and scuttlebutt. But when you see it from so many sources, you know it's got to be true. So it'll be next year. Let's face it.
It's so in line with Sony's money grabbing. Horrible stuff.
It won't come out till after HBO's Last of Us.
Indeed. Until, they've got the TV series ready to go. Yep. That'll probably give us the timing for the TV series appearing.
Exactly.
All right, story 4 this evening. Once again, back to Video Games Chronicle. Overwatch 2 servers are down following a mass DDoS attack on launch day. Now, I threw out my wild speculation earlier, but what does the actual news stories have to say, Unky?
I mean, we sort of touched on it a lot earlier, and obviously one of the game developers directors, Aaron Keller, came out and tweeted, he's like, we're steadily making progress on server issues and stability, as well as working through a second DDoS attack. We're all hands on deck and we'll continue to work throughout the night. Thank you for your patience. We'll share more info as it becomes available. So, with that story, with the first DDoS attack, apparently they had a second DDoS attack as well on top of everything else, and the server issues and the migration issues of people's characters, which I've also spoken about earlier in the night. But it just couldn't catch a break. And as we've seen, I think even as of tonight, I managed to get into a game just before we went live. So hopefully that stuff's starting to settle now. But what a nightmare launch for an online game.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. My question here, scrolling down, I've just noticed Overwatch 2 includes 9 weeks. A Battle Pass runs 9 weeks. Hasn't it always been 12? Am I wrong? I feel like I bet they're keeping the Battle Pass price at, the $14, $15 mark, but I reckon they've trimmed 3 weeks off it. Does that sound right to you?
You might be able to speak more to me. I didn't play. I played a fair bit of Overwatch right when it first came out, but probably not enough.
Oh, but even Fortnite's Battle Pass, is that, how long is that? Is that 12 weeks as well?
Yeah, I don't play. I've played a little bit of Fortnite. Probably not enough to know what that time frame is for Battle Passes.
Have to do a roundup, but I'm relatively confident you typically get 12 weeks in a Battle Pass. So this could be a terrible trend of, hey, how short can we make a Battle Pass and keep the price the same?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's getting a lot of hate at the moment. You've got all these issues, but as I spoke about earlier with the grind and stuff of the game, like players who use the series have to play apparently 100 matches to unlock all of the original game's heroes. That's a lot of game time.
That is.
To do that, unless you want to pay the money to unlock them, probably. So, again, just
no thanks.
The nature of Activision Blizzard. So, no, thank you. I'll play the game when it's fun to play and when it's easy to get into, but I don't think they're going to be getting any extra money out of me.
Do you think when the Activision Blizzard deal acquisition closes for Microsoft, that will the Overwatch 2 old characters become included with Game Pass, maybe as a little carrot to new console purchases?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, there is obviously Xbox and Activision, Blizzard now owning them. There could be some Xbox exclusivity there, so maybe.
I reckon. Eyes on the horizon.
I would like Horizon. Don't mention Horizon again. We just went there. But no, I could see that happening, and I would like to see something like that happen for the Xbox users. I've got an Xbox, obviously. I've got the hard drive space to put it on there. But yeah, I would like to see stuff like that happen in the future, especially with something like Overwatch, which I think is a good game, can be a great game. I just think a lot of this other stuff muddies the water for a lot of people.
I agree completely, mate. There's, good and bad things about. But as I said earlier, keep your eyes peeled. I reckon it's going to be a PS4 issue when all is said and done on that one. Story 5 this evening comes from Oz Gamers. Dead Space remake set to tap further into Isaac's sanity as new features are revealed in first gameplay trailer. An award to Oz Gamers for the longest headline I've ever read on the news statement. Unky, further details, please.
Oh, mate, I love it. Did you watch the trailer at all?
Was this the one from Gamescom, sorry, or was this a new one?
No, this one literally dropped yesterday, I believe.
No, have not seen it. Tell me things.
This was their first official gameplay, so you can watch it and be like, oh, this is what Dead Space looked like. But I can assure you, I watched a lot of Dead Space and have been playing the backwards compatibility version of Dead Space. It looks nothing like this trailer looks. It's insane, the details they've gone to. And in terms of the actual stuff the game's doing differently from its predecessor as well, which definitely does make it a remake, they've got something called the peeling system now, so necromorphs and stuff have been reconstructed around the new peeling system, which uses layered flesh, tendons, and bones.
Oh, gosh.
Tear and shatter in shocking new ways. And while strategy is key, players will also experience increased opportunities for creativity in how they utilize the variety of unique weapons and abilities in combat and horrifying enemies. So that's going to be awesome. Even more terrifying. The intensity director has been added, so Dead Space is beautifully crafted, equally haunting world has been easy for players to get lost in, but now players will truly feel the weight of every mystery Isaac takes. The new intensity director dynamically adjusts what shows up in Isaac's path, from necromorph spawns and how they choose to attack them, to environmental effects such as light, smoke, particles, and sound. Isaac's heartbeat, breathing, and exertions also adjust based on his stress levels to provide players direct feedback into his mental, emotional, and physical state. I think that is awesome.
Yes.
Especially if they can incorporate that with the DualSense controller and sort of have heartbeat and stuff going on. I think that could be really cool.
Yep.
Where we got a fully interconnected Ishimura this time. So from the start screen to the end screen, players will confront the frightfully tight corridors and shadowed hallways of the USG Ishimura without a single load screen or camera cut ever breaking the immersion. So they've gone the old God of War 2018 route there, which I think is amazing. Nice. To be able to explore the whole thing with no cutscenes, I think is going to be amazing. This enormous mining ship has been restored for the remake with new rooms, routes, obstacles, while permitting seamless exploration with the new user interface, map controls, and an improved locator. So the fact that they've gone to this extent to not only upgrade the graphics of what they've done, if you check out the trailer, you can see the kind of lighting and stuff they've got. You can see some screenshots there with how good this bloody thing looks. To add all this extra immersion to some of this game, I cannot wait to replay Dead Space. I started replaying the original game. It still holds up today. All it needs
is that in Game Pass? The original? I feel like it is. I think it is.
Yeah, I reckon it is. I reckon I picked it up on Game Pass. That and number 2. And playing that game, it still holds up today in terms of gameplay, and the fact they've sort of gone in and enhanced all that, and the graphics now look like a next-gen game. I think the only thing that's going to hurt this is if Callisto Protocol, being a brand new game in that genre, made by the original developer, comes out obviously in December, which I can't wait for. Is incredible. This game has obviously been a known quantity, essentially coming out after the fact in January. For that, but again, I don't really care. Like, I know what I'm going to get with Dead Space, essentially, and I know if I can get a much better version of the game that I already consider a 9 to 10 out of 10 horror experience, I'm going to replay this game and absolutely love it. So,
I'm looking forward to getting my hands back on it.
Mate, I recommend watching that trailer because it just gets you more excited for it. It is insane.
Nice. Now, just refresh my memory, mate. Is there any new gameplay mechanics in Callisto Protocol? Like, you know how Elden Ring brought so much more to the table that it just made Forbidden West look dated. Do we know if there's any new gameplay mechanics in Callisto Protocol that will make this look equally dated?
Yeah, so Dead Space obviously hinged itself on the severing mechanic where you severed limbs and stuff like that. And I think Callisto goes that step further. Watching the trailers and some of the gameplay stuff, that you can sever limbs and stuff with your guns, etc. But then enemies, if you don't take out these tentacle things, the enemies will then morph. So you can eventually kill an enemy, but then it'll have tentacles. And if you don't then take out those tentacles, it will then morph into another version of that enemy and come at you still further. And it's enhances how you play that game. And just, I think the visceral nature of the deaths that your character can have, they've got a lot more well-known actors, I think, in this game as well. I think Josh Duhamel plays your main character in this as well. So I just started watching on Disney Plus the second season of The Mighty Ducks, which Josh Duhamel is also in. So he's kicking goals. He's in Callisto Protocol and The Mighty Ducks. Go Josh Duhamel.
Nice.
And I think they just announced recently with one of the trailers as well. I don't know if you watched The Boys.
No, I still haven't seen an episode.
Oh,
I know you've recommended it to me a few times, mate. I haven't got to do it.
One of the females in that show, she's really cool as well. She's also now one of the characters in the game as well. So really excited by their choice of actors in this game as well. So well-known names and just further, enhancing those mechanics of the Sever mechanics with these new tentacle mechanics they want to tout, and the enemies sort of enhancing themselves if you don't kill them. So no, I can't wait for both these horror experiences. It's going to be a good couple of months.
Nice. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. Next up from GameSpot. What have they got here? Halo could be making the jump from slip space to the Unreal Engine. Well, that's controversial.
It is a bit controversial. They spent the slip space engine is what the reason Halo Infinite took so long to come out, because they were working on this engine just for Halo. And admittedly, good engine, I think. The game looks really good. It runs really well. But is that?
I assume the whole Master Chief collection was on that same engine?
I'm not entirely sure. They might have redone that game on that engine, possibly. You might factions. Anyone in the chat, if you know any different. If I had Bully here, if he hadn't fallen down the cliff and got eaten by a white tail and a red back and stuff, then we'd probably be able to check with him. But rest in peace, Bully. Then we'd be able to check. But no, I'm not 100% sure. But moving to Unreal, does that give them ability to punch out content faster than what they are currently with the Slip Space engine? I hope so. Because maybe this engine they're working in is hard to work in, and that's what causes some of the delays with the DLC, and obviously issues with the co-op multiplayer not being able to happen. I think it's probably a bit much of a far cry to say redo Infinite in the Unreal Engine and then obviously move forward with the next Halo projects in Unreal Engine. My initial thought was they would probably do Infinite and just keep Infinite going and add to it. But now with the new Unreal Engine rumours that are going, what's the go with it?
Well, do you remember with the PlayStation 4 was where Naughty Dog switched engines and the remaster was to stretch their legs with the new engine? It would make sense to start with a remaster of a game that already exists. So I could totally see them doing Halo Infinite as getting their feet wet with Unreal 5 before they move on to new games in it. And that would make sense. The question I've got is why Microsoft would go from not having to pay any royalties for their own engine to now having to pay Unreal 5 engine royalties on every game sold over 100,000 or whatever it is. Seems like an odd business choice.
Does seem like an odd business choice, but then at the end of the day, does switching engines enable them to create a better game and bring out content faster, which then enables them to sell more of that game faster, which then recoups the cost of that being able to pay for Unreal Engine. So it might be more that they can employ people quicker and get them spitting out content quicker if they go to Unreal Engine. Like if a proprietary engine, obviously there'd be a lot of onboarding required for a new developer to understand how it all goes together. But if they flick to Unreal Engine, they could just open the floodgates and let in a bunch of new developers and really team up the battle pass that's severely lacking in new content. If that was all done in Unreal, you could throw a lot more bodies at it. So it makes sense from that point of view, I suppose. Yeah, absolutely. If that's the engine that most people want to use, and from what we've seen from Unreal Engine 5, it's a bloody good looking engine. So why not flick over if that's the case? And it's easy to use in their current engine. Then maybe make that hard call and just go, just draw the line and just say from now on, Halo is Unreal Engine 5, and we either do a release of Infinite or we just cut Infinite where it is and just say, let's create a new experience of Halo and start with Unreal. I don't know where it is, how hard it is to recreate everything in Unreal. I imagine it's not the smallest of tasks to do, and it's not going to be cheap.
Not at all.
Whether that's worth the numbers they get in the end, I don't know.
Do you know if Halo Infinite came out to PC? Is that in the PC Game Pass, or have they not released the PC version yet?
I thought it was part of Game Pass on PC.
I've no idea. It very well could be, but I was going to speculate that if the PC version of Halo Infinite wasn't out, maybe that will be the test guinea pig.
Yeah, I mean, quite well. I'm trying to Google now. I'm not seeing anything PC specific, but I can only imagine it is.
Oh, well, more heads rolling, Bonnie Ross style.
Bonnie Ross.
Oh, well, an interesting report, no less. But that brings us to the end of the news segment. But as we always do, we cap it off with the new releases this week, thanks to the Game Informer website. Going down the list, starting at the top, or did you want to take this one for me, Unky?
No, I'm more than happy to take this one.
Go for it.
Obviously, towards the end of the week, so most of these games probably have launched by now. We have Dakar Desert, not to be you're not racing on like ice cream and pancakes. So Desert Rally. October 4 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, Switch, and PC. Oh, there's no Stadia.
No Stadia release. Crazy.
Oh, crazy. Then we've got Overwatch 2. We've spoken about it. Game Informer gave it a 9. Clearly, they didn't play it with all the issues it's had.
Yep.
Well, they just reviewed number 1 because essentially it's the same game. Then we have Death vs. Let It Die. Platform is on PC, October 5. Medieval Dynasty, Xbox Series X, October 6. Nier Automata, great game. Can't recommend it enough. Comes to Switch, October 6. Game Informer 7.75. I'd give it more of a 8.75 or a 9 for me. And then the only game that hasn't come out yet this week, because we are currently on the 6th, is No Man's Sky on Switch. I have to check it, but I thought that was mainly only the streaming.
It very well could be, but didn't they just... I read an interview with Sean Murray this week, and I don't know if it has come out yet or it's about to drop, but they're, year 5 or their 5th biggest patch or whatever. So I wonder if the Switch release coincides with that new version releasing.
Oh, quite possibly. Quite possibly. And now I know you had the standoff last week. Did No Man's Sky win biggest comeback?
No. Who won biggest comeback in the end? It was the second slot. I'm struggling to remember what our second nomination was. But it was Fortnite. Well, no, Fortnite was number 1, and that's where I was leaning. But then Bully turned me around, and we went with whatever was the second slot. But I'm totally blanking on what slot 2 was last week.
That's right. I remember in the comments, I think my win was Fortnite. But, you guys didn't go with that. So, plus you keep it up being on the show, hey? Hey, what you get?
Show up and you get your votes. Bully votes this week in the standoff. And if I hit a couple of buttons, don't we have... the standoff here somewhere. Come on.
Who will fight?
Who will fight this week? Unky, what are the constraints for the standoff, my friend?
This week we've got the most iconic or best game catchphrase. You might say it's because we got the release or the first Mario poster with the "It's a me, a Mario," and he might be on this list, but we've got a lot of other ones contending with him tonight.
All right, game 1 this evening is on screen. Unky, take us away.
Now, we're not only going through the best catchphrase, you also have to rate us on our our version of these catchphrases as well. We'll rank ourselves. You can rank me, I can rank you. We'll both do a version, and we'll see who gets the tickets at the end. So, first one off the rank is do a barrel roll.
I've got to say, it has been way too long since I've played this to recall, but do a barrel roll. There's no roll on that. I'm Mario.
You just going to say, it's just Mario. No, this is Slippy the Frog from Starfox. Like one of the most classic lines you'll ever hear from Starfox, although in Australia we call it Lilac Wars, apparently. I don't know why we had a different name down here. Starfox, such a better name for a game than Lilac Wars, but anyway. This little phrase, this was the catchphrase of my childhood playing this game, was just on the Nintendo 64. Lilac Wars, just do a barrel roll, do a barrel roll. I'm doing a barrel roll. God damn it, Slippy. I'm like 400 of them. Stop telling me to do them. And most of the time, when he's asking you to do them, you don't need to do it. It's like, God, he just wants to make me dizzy. That's all he wants to do. I think he just wants all the glory. He's like, you do a barrel roll so I can get all the kills. Just greedy. Like, good catchphrase, though, Slippy. Good catchphrase.
Very good. And Unky, this is just a note for you, mate. I realised that I wasn't giving you the live feed, but I am now. So if you want to play catch-up on that screen, hopefully you can see me as I flick now to the standoff contestant 2, whom is Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat. Well, this is hard because Mortal Kombat's got so many different catchphrases that are very iconic. In this one, we've got finish him. All right, Troy, your turn.
Finish him.
Oh, I think you win that one. Then we've got flawless victory, fatality.
Flawless victory, fatality.
Okay, you won the first one. I won the second one. I won the call. But in terms of iconic sayings and catchphrases in games, this has got to be up there, Troy.
Finish him, definitely, yes.
Finish him is definitely up there. Like a lot of this is like it's gone beyond just Mortal Kombat. You hear finish him in a whole bunch of other things, like I don't know, at work. Like if I'm not going to finish a deadline, it's like finish him. It's probably a lie, but like it's definitely it's well known. Like I remember watching the Mortal Kombat movies, and they definitely hark on the whole finish him stuff as well. It's just it's iconic in gaming. I think a lot of people that haven't even played Mortal Kombat know that finish him is part of Mortal Kombat. I don't think I'll get too many arguments there.
And I think there's a whole heap of comedy films from the past 20 years that have used the line themselves. You know, so many popular cultures littered with finish him references.
Absolutely. It all stems from Mortal Kombat back in the day. I'm just watching these footage, getting nostalgia playing. I'm not a PC gamer, Troy, but I remember playing this first Mortal Kombat back on PC, and this is just bringing back so many memories.
Oh, yes, they were fun times. Green Blood, was it for you, Hunky?
I think it might have been. It was up there with the old Left 4 Dead Green Blood.
Oh, yes. Game 3 this evening, Resident Evil. What could we possibly be going for here?
What are you buying?
What are you buying? Was that Aussie in-game, or did you just throw some Aussie on that, Hunky?
I think I just threw a bit of Aussie in there, you know. What are you buying?
What are you buying, mate?
What are you selling, stranger?
Oh, there it is. You win. I love it.
Hey, got it. No, this one, I love this. I still do this. What are you buying? Like, even I play Resident Evils that don't even do it anymore. I just expect it.
I feel like it was in Village. Was it not in Village?
Yeah, no, Village. They definitely did play up, and he was like, "What are you buying?" And I'm like, they did. They did the thing. They did the thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the remake where they just hark it on the stranger. What a great character. Like, what a great line. It just sticks true for me. Like, I just wish every character you went to in the game just would say, "What are you buying?" A bit mysterious, like "What are you buying?"
What are you buying?
He comes out of nowhere in this game. Like, it's the first time you meet him, he's just like flashing his like shit with all these like knives and guns and I don't know, like the stuff you can buy from him. I don't know how he came across it, but maybe he should be the main character of the game if you ask me.
Trader Simulator. I like it. What's number 4 this evening? BioShock?
Number 4, BioShock. Now, I know BioShock won a standoff recently for, I can't remember what it was, but it definitely won a standoff. Anyway, like this one was for the Would You Kindly. Now, Troy, this was one of those revelations in games where you're like, they got me. Where the amount of times he says, Would You Kindly is like a mind trick to get you to actually do your task in the game.
Yes.
Was just phenomenal. And that realization, it's kind of one of those great twists in video games as well, that it's just become renowned as one of those great catchphrases in video games.
Now, what I'll dock your points on, though, is a little bit Irish in it. It's more of a, would you kindly? No, that was a bit too far, but would you kindly? It's somewhere around there. He's not quite a leprechaun.
He's not going, would you kindly?
Would you kindly?
Would you kindly get me a gun, lad? He's not quite like that, but he's not far off, if you know what I'm saying.
I love it. I do know what you're saying. All right, number 5 this evening. Snake!
No, but the first one is the actual exclamation point with a ding. You know the noise that makes when you get the exclamation point? That's renowned. You see it in memes and stuff everywhere these days where it's like an alert noise as something's wrong. It's just that noise from Metal Gear Solid. Everyone knows what it is, which is why previously when you said that the noise from Sandwich is it's iconic. It's almost there, but this is kind of still a statement because it's an exclamation point. So it's kind of like, I've found you noise, but then it kind of culminates into the whole, like, essentially once that happens, you most of the time die. And then it's the Snake!
Oh, I love that one.
But just everyone, well, not everyone, but most people in gaming know that the exclamation noise and sound and look and then just the death screen of Snake. It's just one of the most iconic video game catchphrases go around, I think.
I agree, mate. It is very iconic. Number 6, however, is what? Hadouken!
Oh, sorry, that was just me taking a shit, Troy. The noise is Hadouken. Or you could say Shoryuken, which is Ken's, but I think Hadouken's the more
Hadouken, indeed, yes.
From Ryu, it's well renowned from Street Fighter. It's one of the easiest moves you can pull off in Street Fighter, so you do it a lot. Was it left, down, right, whatever?
Oh, well, it's been far too long.
Or even just left, right, whatever it needs to be to do this attack. It's one of the easiest attacks going around. But like, I think people still to this day like do the action and like try and shoot either their significant other or son, daughter with a Hadouken every now and again.
My kids will throw one in my direction from time to time as well. It's skipped generations.
It was stood the test of time, the old Hadouken.
It has. Will number 7? Oh, God of War. Is this by chance? Boy.
Boy. Yeah, definitely the boy. Like, he says it a lot, this guy. I didn't realize how much he said until I read this clip. I was like, yeah, he says it a lot. Okay, can you tell me, I can't see it on here, does it tell you how long the clip goes for?
No, I can't pull that information up from here, unfortunately.
From memory, I think it was 8 minutes of Kratos just saying boy or thereabouts. But I still remember my favourite moment for this from saying boy was at the awards. Sarah, I can't remember the awards.
Yeah.
And the award, they were reading out an award for something. He was just like, read it, boy. And he had him and the actor on there. It was just brilliant. But there's like, from a more recent game, for like most people in gaming know that when you just say boy, it's from God of War.
Definitely. I think that one is well known in the gaming circles. I'm not sure it's ever reached outside, but certainly big within us. Number 8 this evening. What do we got here?
All you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Now, this was one... didn't you only get this if you failed the mission?
Yeah, pretty much, which was a lot. Troy, because you could pretty much only fail this mission.
Well, it was a great platforming challenge for me, I'll give you that.
Well, so you never finished G.E.A. San Andreas?
I did eventually finish it, but no, I definitely heard, all you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ. I heard that many times, yes.
I think I only heard it once in the remaster we got towards the end of last year, thankfully, because I think with their new controls and the graphics and stuff, it wasn't as arduous of a task to do everything it asked you to do. But God, there was so many ways you could fail this thing, and I just think everyone just knew it was just one of those, not so much an iconic mission, but just every time, all you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Indeed. Next up,
wait, not next. You're gonna give your crack at that first.
Oh, wait, I've hit the button earlier. Now I've really lost my spot. Stand by. We're doing this one. Now, all you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ. That's the best I got.
I think we're pretty much on par there. I think we're on par.
All right now, mate, the big one, number 9. Have we got Chris Pratt on standby?
You do, mate. You wait. This is the clip. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you wait. I don't know if you don't have sound, I don't think.
Correct.
But you wait. There he is.
Oh, look at that.
There he is. It's me, Mario. As Chris Pratt would say, it's me, Mario. Oh, he's not Australian. I love that video. I love it. It's so stupid.
I feel like Chris Pratt could do a Ripper Australian impersonation, though, if he wanted to.
I reckon he probably could have. But, like, as far as, like, iconic, like, catchphrases go, it's up there. Let's call a spade a spade.
Indeed. It's a me, Mario. One of the biggest ones going around. I would argue that in about how many hours time were we away? About 12 more hours. I think that line will become a lot more popular.
I reckon they might buck the trend and not use it at all.
Ooh, controversial. Time will tell. All right, number 10. Are we going back to Mortal Kombat?
We are. Like, this only came to me. I'd done the standoff. The setup was done, Troy, today. And then I was just on the trampoline with a little fella, and we were playing like superheroes or whatever, and I can't remember what I did, but I was like, get over here. I'm like, oh God, it's got to go on the list. It's got to go on the list. Still doing it this day. Get over here.
I love a good get over here. Yeah,
like,
perfect.
Oh, solid. You might have just won that then as well, because I don't know whether this is this better than Finish Him?
I reckon it is. I reckon it mightn't be as popular outside the gaming sphere, but I reckon it's a better line, definitely.
I think so too, and I think that's the line everyone waited for in the new Mortal Kombat movie. There was finally the get over here, and it was just so epic, and it's just such a good line.
It is. It's brilliant. I love it. But I reckon we're about to hit your favourite one, are we, Uggs?
Maybe.
Entry 11 this week for the standoff.
Oh, I'm a bit biased, but yeah, maybe. It's my boy. It's my boy Nathan Drake. Loves the word crap. He says holy crap. He says crap a lot when he falls out of an aeroplane. I actually googled to try and find out how many times he says crap in the Uncharted franchise, but there was nothing I could find that actually showed how many times he said it. Which
they haven't finished counting.
They haven't. I don't think. I think he says it that many times. Just a lot of these clips are just Uncharted 4, and I think there's over 20 just in Uncharted 4. But this man made the word crap his own.
He did, and I reckon Tom Holland served it beautifully in the recent film he did as Nathan Drake. That was beautiful in that.
Absolutely did, which solidifies the fact that the word crap is now a Nathan Drake word, I have to say. Like, not many people use it, but Drake does it brilliantly. I love it. Just the way he uses it every time. He says, oh, holy crap. Like, it could be a moment of brevity where it's just like everything's down in the dumps. He's just washed up on the shore of, like, you know, he's had a shipwreck or whatever, and he's just like, crap. And it's just something about it. I love it.
I agree completely, man. It is awesome. It's 6 shades of awesome, in fact. But will number 12's entry pass it? What do we have for 12, mate?
It's pretty iconic, Troy. It's the you can abbreviate to a shorter thing, but most of them is I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee.
Very nice.
Me. Free to have a crack at it.
Oh, yes, I will. I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. I think I put too much emphasis in it.
I'm gonna have another crack. I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee.
Nice, you've nailed that. I like the Scottish slant. That was perfect.
I do that because there's that many characters in that game that say that exact same line that, you know what, there probably is a Scottish guy that says it.
I bet there is, but Unky, there can only be one winner. Which way are you leaning this evening?
Oh, this is hard. Troy, there's 12 of them. That's my own fault. But
there is a standout for me, mate. If it helps you at all, I believe the standout winner is Snake! Snake! How could you ever beat it?
It's pretty iconic, isn't it?
It's so beyond just video games. Like, I reckon that one's known wide.
Yeah, you're probably right. With the exclamation point there as well, just to give it an extra little kicker. Because usually that leads to the fact that you're going snake, because you've alerted all the enemies and you haven't played stealthy like the way you should. Oh, yeah, I mean, I do like Boy as well because it's so simple.
Boy is good, but it's so new and it didn't permeate beyond gaming, I don't think.
That is true. I mean, you've got like those Mortal Kombat ones as well. You've got It's Me Mario.
That's true.
But It's Me Mario, which is so iconic.
You could definitely flip me to It's Me Mario.
It's Me, everyone knows that, even if they don't like you could say It's Me Mario and someone that doesn't even play games knows what that is.
Yeah, that's very true. You don't have that with Metal Gear Solid Snake.
You don't. Get over here. I reckon a lot of people might actually even know what that is.
Yeah, but It's Me Mario, if we're talking about mainstream appeal, I think It's Me Mario would probably be the highest trending one here.
Okay, the overall choice, maybe It's Me Mario, but the G.E.A. choice is going to go, we're going to go with Snake.
Snake! All right, I'm down for that. Was that number 3? 5. Number 5 this evening. Metal Gear Solid, a winner is you with Snake. Snake! Bloody perfect. I love it. All right, Unky. That brings us to segment 4. Can you please tell us what's been happening in that there YouTube chat? Does anybody agree with our standoff picks?
They do, but I'm going to go back to last week quickly with a comment that I made in the chat that Bully didn't get to. You were talking about John Wick Hex, right, last week?
Yes.
I suggested a game called Unky Dunk Hex, where you move through the game, right, purchasing every video game that comes out. Right, and then at the end of it, it shows you the amount of money you've spent. You know, it shows you the whole thing really quickly. It shows you how much.
Yeah.
And then the final boss is your missus, and you got to fight her to try and get around the fact you spent so much money. So that was the comment last week that Bully didn't get to. But in the chat tonight, we have Sean Games. He's been there all night.
Thank you, Sean Games. Appreciate it, mate.
I did mention him that I've been playing a bit of. He said he's been playing Overwatch 2. I said, "Do you mean waiting in queues?" He said, "No, he's actually been playing it." Lol. He's also been watching School of Rock. Great movie.
Oh, it was. Does he happen to say which platform he was on for the issue 3?
He doesn't say what platform. I'm not sure what does he normally rock?
Well, I think he recently upgraded his gaming PC. I think the last time I heard from him, it was he was playing predominantly on PC. So I wonder if he's playing Overwatch on PC, and maybe it is rock solid over there.
It's School of Rock Solid. I like it. See what he did.
I liked it.
And the last time he did the chat, he said he's 20-person queue for Overwatch 2. So a little while ago. So I'm assuming the reason he hasn't been in the chat since is he actually did get a game of Overwatch 2, or he's currently in a queue waiting for 40,000 players in front of him to play again. So that's what I've got in the chat. I'd just like to say thank God my hiccups have finally gone now that the standoff is finished. It was great that they decided to last while the standoff was on. Hopefully it wasn't too noticeable.
No, mate, we were fine. No one noticed.
Hell yeah. So I'm glad I brought that up then. Awesome. So that's it for the chat tonight, Troy.
Beautiful. That brings us to the end of another episode of the Gaming Enforcement Agency, episode 44, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Myself,
off duty, and good luck for Bully healing up from all the spider bites and the cliff face fall that he's sustained this week.
Indeed, Bully, come on back, and good luck next week, fellas, as you run the show on your own. My turn for a week off. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the rest of the channel. We've got the bunch of Let's installs done for Overwatch 2. If you're on any of the console platforms, check it out. We've got them all covered.
Just don't expect any Let's Plays anytime soon.
Indeed. Let's Queue. We could start a new series called Let's Queue.
I love it.
Okie dokie, though. What else could you do with the channel?
Mate, you can like it, subscribe it. You'll never miss it.
Oh, that was luck. Hey, that's something. I love everything about it. Ooh. Old Uncle Donkey.
Donkey.